Yeah, oh yeah, because I was talking about... Yeah, it's just weird. They come over to the Caribbean, and they... It's like, I can't... Sugarcane, like the term, like just the phrase sugarcane is like, gives me a chill now.
Yeah.
Just, because they're just like, oh, sugarcane's the best thing for here. And so, it literally was this like Game of Thrones, like Western expansion of the Caribbean for 200 years, where like Netherlands, Portugal, France, Denmark, Spain, Britain would like colonize different parts of it. Get all the natives to do the work. Use up all of the natives to the point where they died. Then bring Africans in. And like that just happened 200 years before America started. And then people act like America had nothing to do with slavery at the time.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's like when the real reason why England funded like the colonial settlement, like why the Puritans were able to afford coming to America, is because slavery in the Caribbean had been making other countries so much money from sugarcane sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was trillions of dollars.
Exactly. They're making so much money. They're like, we want more of that. And so they were funding people that wanted to go to America and stay there instead of colonists. That's how the Puritans afforded it. Because England was like, we need more people to go there and make us more slave money. It was literally the entire people. The reason America existed, anyone went there, was for slave money.
Yep.
For money used in slavery. And it's like, it's not even, you can't say America is not founded on different slavery because the first motherfucker to touch down was there because of slavery.
This is hurting your
non-native motherfucker.
Right. This is hurting your. What do I need to fix, Big Richie? If this shit's hurting your eyes, because I just made a new overlay just for this game.
God. Yeah. I think you need like an out. I think you need something around you, like your camera.
Oh yeah. I'll fix it after this game. I might just throw, so I could fix the shit.
It's also the extra shit going to like people's different stuff.
Oh yeah, it's because these motherfuckers are all trying to get me. As soon as I start getting my stacks up, they fucking start hating on nigga and start sending me blocks. See, look at that. I feel it, Big Richie. Oh my god. Clearly still getting warmed up. I'm fucking starving too. I have not eaten solid food yet. There's my first KO. Are you still in here, Fluff? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, why are cruise ships allowed to fucking exist?
Why are what allowed to exist?
Cruise ships.
Cruise ships? Oh my god, don't even get me fucking started. I had to, that was actually one of the things I had to forklift, last summer was this giant ass antenna to go on top of a cruise ship.
They literally just go around just dumping trash and
Yep.
carbon into the fucking planet. It's so insane. They're just huge fucking castle of pollution.
And they're not fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of suck.
No, nobody's ever been like, anyone that fucking wants to, it's just such a weird fucking thing to want to do. Like, go to, like, I want to go to a resort on a ship. Like, just go to a fucking beach resort then.
Right.
Those have their own problems, obviously, but.
It's not just dumping hella fucking trash in the middle of the ocean.
No, like gentrification is one thing, but literally just destroying the planet. I think people would have gotten that after like the COVID shit, no?
Oh no, there's still people who don't think COVID was real. That's the craziest part about that.
I was teaching kids about, they won't shut up about monkeypox, so I was like, alright, we're just gonna learn about monkeypox. And they're like second graders, so they have baby brains. So like we learned about what monkeypox was and how viruses work and stuff. And one of them kids was like, my uncle said monkeypox was created in a lab.
Oh god.
And so I taught them about like how genetics work, like using the P's and stuff like that. And so I'm like, it can look like it's created, but that's how evolution is. Change a little bit. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, how? It's so insane. People are like, why would monkeypox be made in a fucking lab? I made a video on the Fauci stuff. And like COVID being made in a lab as well.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't remember it.
Yo, what up, Globus? Yeah, daytime stream. What up, Kenny Krieger? I'm back on the Tetris. Oh, I'm trying to turn the fucking music down in this game though, because
Have you seen John Oliver's video on monkeypox?
no, not yet.
Really good.
I'll check it out in a sec.
Talk a lot about how like we were completely prepared. We should we're for all intent and purposes pretty prepared for it, and still dropped the ball completely.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where like it came and went for me because I saw people. Not that I didn't care about it, but like I saw it being used as a propaganda tool. So I was like, okay, motherfuckers are talking about how it's fucking gay, like it's a gay STD and shit. So I should probably.
Yeah, MTG's video on it. She talked about it. She's like, it's basically an STD, and, you know.
Jesus Christ.
Basically, just saying like, you know, if you get it, you deserve it. So you probably
What the fuck?
You probably afterward, basically what you wanted. So.
Right. God hates F slurs is what you want to say.
Such stupid shit, dude.
I seriously can't turn this fucking ridiculous ass music down. I mean, it's Tetris, so you gotta have a Tetris music, but like. Nah, PJ, it's not even that the 80s are back. This is straight the 20s again. We got company towns coming back. We got forced sterilizations and shit happening. It's real out here.
Company towns never went away. Walmart, I always think Walmart counted.
Well, I mean, so that's kind of a different situation because Walmart is moving into the town, whereas Amazon is literally building condos next to their warehouses. Like, yeah, just live here. Just live in the
Yeah,
factory.
that one's it's more on the nose.
But I see where you're coming from with Walmart, though, for sure. You know what I'm gonna do? This is how I'm gonna do this. Alright, I wonder if that worked. Sure didn't. Oh, let me.
What? San Francisco police had a fucking EMT sedate a protester. So imagine if you were still an AMT and they had, like, an officer asked you to do that.
Ridiculous.
Like, need you sedate this uppity woman.
Nursing is so like that. Oh shit's wild. Yeah, I got a gum graft. They cut skin off the roof of my mouth and stitched it to my gums to make my gums thicker, to make them not recede as much, because I have receding gums, unfortunately. There was a period of time after I, you know, got kicked off my parents' insurance, as happens with a lot of people. And I didn't see the dentist for like 5 years, and that was a fucking mistake. I can't say I'd recommend it. I was awake for that shit too. I didn't realize till I started researching it, because I was really nervous about how bad it was gonna hurt and all that. I didn't realize that, like, getting put out for it was even an option, which kind of sucked, but
You would have had to pay a lot of extra anyway.
yeah. But I mean, my insurance is so dope, I wouldn't have to pay a whole lot out of pocket for that shit anyway. But at the same time, I would have had to prepare for it a lot more, because they don't let you drive home after that. And I was not looking forward to trying finesse a ride from someone.
One of the most painful experiences of my life was at a dentist. Like, it was on my tooth that had an app that now I've had like routine access. And it was basically like a routine filling, but imagine like all routine filling, but all the, you can feel it at least like half, or at least like up to a quarter or a half of the pain.
Yeah, that's different.
It was an incredibly traumatic experience. Easily the most one of the most painful experience of my life. I could literally feel every tool, like the heating, the blasting, like the drilling.
Fuck. Yeah, my former partner is allergic to anesthetic and also didn't have insurance. So she just went to the Philippines and got some like random Filipino dude in his basement to fucking pull teeth out and drill in her teeth and shit.
It's in America.
America sucks, high key. Like, I don't get why.
Just one big fucking music park, like one big amusement park, and if you don't have tickets, good luck.
Right. Not even that. It's a plantation, and if you don't live in a fucking big house, best of fucking luck. There we go. Beautiful. I got stacks on stacks on stacks. Racks on racks on racks.
Third world country and a Gucci belt. I like that.
Yeah, third world country and a Gucci belt for sure.
I wonder if freedomhouses.org has updated America's ranking after the...
Oh shit, you guys can't see the screen. I'm silly.
I'm curious if they've overturned, if they've adjusted it. Freedomhouse.org.
This just makes me want to fuck around and play Metroid Dread, because I never finished that game actually. I probably should, because it was really good. It's my favorite Metroid so far. Actually, I take that back. Metroid Fusion will always be my favorite just because of nostalgia, but Dread was really good, to the extent that I hope they continue to make those games.
Here we go. Let's see if America's been ejected.
If what?
I'm looking at freedomhouse.org and I'm seeing if America's score's been ejected from the heavyweight loss overturning. No, because they haven't updated for 25 years.
Oh, this is not good. Fuck.
Our score's definitely gonna go down. After that. You know, America's ranked like 60th in this.
My bad. I'm having a little trouble because this fucking game's music is nuts.
You're good. Where's Uruguay?
Fam, how? Like, I can turn the music off in the stream, but I still hear it. I don't know. How they not fucking have an option for you to at least turn the music down? Like, the composer bribed them so no one can skip their hard musical work. I feel it. Let me see. How many knockouts do I have? Does it say? 166, and the most I got was 8 in one match. I must have did that last night.
America's 61st place and global freedom.
That's fun.
Want to hear the most surprising? What I think are most surprising ones that are
What's
like
that?
way high. Uruguay's 90 has a score of 97, like in the top 10, which is a South American country. That's pretty cool. So notable exceptions. So notable countries that that are like not as obvious that we're rated lower than Uruguay, Japan, Portugal, Barbados, UK, Costa Rica, the Bahamas, Czech Republic, Spain, Italy, even France.
Wild.
I'd like to hear that one. Greece, Belize, Croatia, Mongolia, Argentina, South Korea, Romania, Samoa. Those are some of the more notable countries that we're less free than.
We're less free than Italy. I wonder why that is.
Their scoring criteria are pretty good.
Why the fuck did I just do that? Oh my god. I'm already fucking up this game.
We haven't even lowered. That was the worst. Now I'm curious about the Maybe some people are curious about the story. Game looks wild, by the way.
Oh, I'm gonna knock this guy out right here. Because he looks like he's struggling. Oof. Oof. Oh, I fucked him up. He's about to get knocked out. That, I did not mean to do that, but that's cool. I'm gonna lean with it, rock with it. Fuck. Oh my god, okay. Shit.
You're good.
There we go. Alright, here we go. Battling back like I'm Hulk Hogan. Ah! And the dude that I was hitting didn't even get knocked out. That's crazy. What up, Wither King? I've been playing Tetris. I'm a bad motherfucker on this Tetris shit. There was actually... Here, I'll go back just so I can talk to y'all for a second without that crazy ass music in the background. So, I fucking... Back when I was in like 9th or 10th grade, I actually competed in like a global Tetris tournament, and I got 7th place, I think. The first prize was like a trip to the Bahamas and $1 million and all that crazy shit. It was through Verizon. How dare I vibe? I'm supposed to be doing communism 24/7. I thought vibing is communism. I thought black joy was the ultimate antithesis to the cultural hegemony that we have right now. That's just me, though. Trans joy, black joy, fucking black boy joy is obviously what I'm going to be most biased towards. Real shit joy is the antithesis to oppression. Because even if you're oppressed and you're still happy, motherfuckers hate that shit. That's why they gotta fucking lock us up. Theory pilled. Communism is when no fun. Hawking supported automation-based socialism. I feel like it has to be, like, automation is good, but it has to be human-based, because you can definitely have racist socialism.
I agree. Thank you so much, Scott. Damn, I don't know if people say that shit.
Like, high-speed rail would be tight, but I definitely don't want that shit to be whites only. You know what I mean? So.
So the two lowest aspects that America scored on here are the people's political choices free from domination by forces that are external to the political sphere or by political forces that employ extra political means?
Ha!
And that was a 2 out of 4.
Yeah, that one should be pretty obvious.
And it goes into describe the reasoning, and it basically lists
Was it?
obviously super PAC,
Yeah, what university was it that actually did that study that established that the United States itself is oligarchy?
I can look that up.
I want to say it was Cornell, but I'm not. Like they plotted what the people, like the voters, want versus what they actually get, and then they plotted what corporate interests want, versus what they actually get, and it was like night and fucking day.
Researchers at Princeton and North.
Princeton. It was Princeton.
The analysis of 1,779 recent policy outcomes found that economic elites and organized groups representing business interests have substantial independent impact on the source. While the average citizen has little or no intent. I'll read about this stuff.
I unfortunately might have to play a different game, folks, because I can't figure out how to unfuck this sound, and I can't hear Shift Fluff is saying, and I know y'all can't hear Shift Fluff is saying it because their audio is on the same channel as the game.
I'll just wait then.
Can y'all hear Fluff? Y'all can hear the other person? Or no?
Okay, they are doing it really well. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you can't hear me. That's
Right, yeah.
Can't you turn it down on volume mixer?
I think so. I'm going to give that a shot in a second. Because I tried to do that through my monitor, and the volume was already turned all the way down, which was confusing. You can barely hear them? Okay, yeah. After this match, after I stop sweating, I'm going to try and unscuff the audio.
I mean, Kenny Geiger had a good idea.
Mute the game altogether, pull up 1 to 3 hours. Yeah, I was good. Well, I was going to loop my music, but that's the thing is I don't know how to mute the game. There's no option for it in game, and
You can do it through Windows.
Yeah,
Volume mixer, right?
well, that's the thing is, if I turn that down, I turn you down as well, and I could turn the audio for the game down in the stream, but that would also turn you down as well.
There's no, like
And
in
then
the
I would
bottom
still
right
hear the
corner,
game.
volume stuff, there's no option for that.
Yeah, hang on, give me a sec. Let me drop this in real quick. I should not have done that. I'm gonna lean with it, rock with it though. Ooh, that T-spin though. You know you like that T-spin. Fuck. Didn't matter, but that T-spin was dirty. I'm using slobs. Headphone parties. I don't know what that is.
Like one of those raves where instead of music playing loud, it's everyone's wearing headphones.
Alright, let me see
It's a
here.
very good way of avoiding noise ordinances.
Right. So, hang on.
Go to the bottom right corner and check the volume mixer.
Yeah, so I know the sound is going from the game is going into my capture card. So, I wonder if I can turn the sound down just on the capture card. There's the master volume. right, let's see if that worked. Nope, sure didn't. Fuck. Fam, why is it so hard?
Oh wait, this isn't on your PC, is it? It's on the Switch?
Yeah, I'm playing on the Switch, but it's going into a capture card.
Okay, that makes things a bit more complicated.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is I'm trying to figure out how to kill the sound coming from my capture card. Actually, you know what? Matter of fact, maybe I can do it in slobs. There we go. Okay. I think that did it. Yep, that did it. Cool. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, I just turned the audio off in slobs. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome. Let me go ahead and throw my music on for y'all. Shout out Nightmare Difficulty. I'm going to throw one of my loops on for y'all. Let me know if you fuck with it. And yeah, we can actually have a conversation again. Sweet.
Nice.
Endless is perfect. I don't know. Oh shit, the game started. Oh my god. What were we saying about that Princeton study?
So finding one, the first finding is that 90% of political decisions made by Congress don't reflect public opinion.
Yep.
And that those decisions do line up with the wealthiest top percent of people.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not necessarily that they're forcing, it's not necessarily that they're forcing. I don't really agree with the idea that, like, rich people have literally that power in their hands. It's that they pay, they pay Congress people.
Yeah.
Because we've seen what happens to powerful companies the moment, like, government actually wants to do something about it.
And yeah, Ruhan, this is Tetris Battle Royale. Yeah, it's because yet again, see, when motherfuckers see you struggling or they see your blocks above a certain line, and they all start targeting you. Like, if I'm in here against other sweats, as soon as my blocks go above, like, the 4th or 5th line, they all start fucking dogpiling me. And that's how you'll see me with, like, half my shit filled with gray blocks by the time we even get to, like, the 5th or 6th piece dropping. But I would agree with that as well. Your money only gets you as far as you're willing to pay the palms you're willing to grease. It's not necessarily that they intrinsically have that power as a virtue of being rich. It's just that they can use the fact that they're rich to do that, and it's very easy for them to.
Exactly. Like, if the government wanted to, and, like, they actually decided to, tomorrow, like, Amazon and Facebook and Elon Musk would just be done. Like,
Right.
they would just have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, well, I think the real issue is like who gets the people that do have the power, those in government. They don't listen to average people. They only listen to the people that pay the money.
Exactly.
Like, fuck you, give me money.
Amazon happens to pay them a really obscene amount of money, so
Exactly.
I don't know why I didn't see that. Oh, fuck, man.
The other thing the U.S. scored 2 out of 4 on was, do laws, policies, and practices guarantee equal treatment of various segments of the population?
Fuck. I thought that was about to be so fucking clutch. Money, yeah, money is a physical representation of power, for sure. In a capitalist system, yeah. I thought it was a comeback, no comeback, though. You know what? I'm getting at least 10th place. I'm getting top 10 this game. Fuck it. I'm going to get my stacks up early. I'm going to drop my Tetrises, and then we're getting at least... Because I was getting steady 7s all last night, but no wins. I'm at least doing that again this round, now that I'm warmed up. My brain is functioning. I'd probably be doing a little bit better if I had some food in my belly, but I can't eat solid food right now, so... That's more trouble than it's worth, unfortunately. It's like, I might just go get some crab soup or something in a minute. Something to treat myself, since... Whoever that was, that fucking the Rejects official pulled up last night and dropped $200 fucking on me for absolutely no reason. Shout out to them again. So I actually pay my rent this month because I had to miss fucking time off work to get this oral surgery done. And my job thinks 2 weeks out of the whole fucking year is enough personal time, which includes vacation days and sick days. So you can go on a nice like 2 week long vacation as long as you just don't get fucking sick or have any emergencies the whole rest of the year.
My problem is, like, I think it's clear I'm willing to shit on America all fucking day. Like, but my disagreements with, like, half the people on the internet that are, like, also left-leaning is, like, they're just not willing to hold the same other countries to the same standard they hold America to. And that always, like, off-puts me.
I feel that, but also you have to remember that, like, America has never really had to worry about a giant fucking colonial power with nukes and shit just coming and fucking their shit up for no reason and being held absolutely not accountable at all for it. Which isn't like, you know, it's not apologia for a lot of the fucked up shit that the socialist countries did, but it's like...
Well, I'm not one of those people that are like, it's gonna be like, oh, USR bad just because, you know, USSR.
I mean, there would be, well, yeah, there's lots of fucking reasons why that shit was bad, but
Exactly.
I was thinking
I'm
more
willing to
so
take in America's influence as a part of it.
yeah, I was thinking more so of like places like Cuba or whatever, but my issue there is just, you know, fucking like the main theme of my channel is that if you do that shit, you know, like in an administrative level, but you don't address like your cultural hegemony, it becomes really easy for, like I was saying earlier, you have whites only high speed rail, and it's like, is that actually socialism or is that, you know, a different status quo?
Yeah, and like I can understand certain political or like certain administrative decisions, right? But I think, like, especially when we talk about Cuba, that
Fuck.
Cuba, like, I 100% agree. The embargo's fucking stupid, and it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
It only makes things worse, objectively. And instead of a but, I'll do and. The government of Cuba is authoritarian, and there is very little chance. The people of Cuba have extremely little say in what goes on an administrative level.
So that aspect of it is more pressing to me, but like authoritarianism itself doesn't bother me because like I literally talk about lining up Nazis against the fucking wall, which is like kind of the most authoritarian thing you can do.
Okay, well, I'll use a different word.
I guess oppressive. I don't know. Yeah. Governments are authoritarian by their nature, so they all suck. Some suck harder. Agreed.
There's there are countries that are where you have much more say in the political aspect. Like you're just to use the word freedom. There's countries that are better.
Yeah.
And are they better because? And you could argue that some of them are better because they haven't faced the challenges that other countries have.
Right.
But that's perfectly fine. But I also think that at some point we have to look at understanding context is important, but also at some point we have to look at what's going on currently.
For sure. Because that's the other thing. It's not that we haven't had any successful socialist projects, just that we haven't had any unmolested, you know what I mean, an actual fair shake at it without interference from colonial powers or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I think the I'm fine. I think evaluation should be objective, and then what you do about it. I mean, not objective, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What matters?
It should be based on evidence.
These scores, and also these scores, for example, on Freedom House, Cuba's got a score of 12, and it's okay, well, what do you want to do about it? Do you want to be attack Cuba,
right,
and free them? No, that's not the fucking point. The goal of the website, for example, is to describe the situation that Cubans are in.
Mm-hmm. That qualitative data, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Cuba's one of the least free countries on here. And I don't mind acknowledging that the embargo makes things a lot worse. I actually think it's required to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I also cannot stand when people fucking act like the government of Cuba is doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, I'm a black anarchist. I'm an anarchist by nature. So any state sympatry is sus as fuck to me. But people get really fucking to the point where I've seen people even weird ass super terminally online commies fantasizing about balkanizing the United States and making an American USSR. Fucking bug flew in my mouth.
Yeah, when people are I love me gulag around.
Yeah, or not even that. They're this is the designated indigenous area. These are the designated African areas. And it's my guy, do you not realize what you're doing?
You're trying to make you're literally doing what they did.
Yeah,
all of Africa.
You're doing the thing. Yeah, you were doing the thing. It wasn't good when the USSR fucking did it, and it's even worse with you're a fucking lily white ass on the internet doing it with a bunch of black and indigenous people.
Yeah, you armchair doing it. So other than Cuba, the two other countries that this has done the most to, where the passive, where the overfocus becomes on the U.S. a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not overfocus, but.
But to say North Korea.
Only. No, I'm not gonna say North Korea because I think if North Korea wanted to be, I think we'll talk about that afterwards.
I don't fuck with North Korea, low key, high key. I don't fuck with China.
I know you're not. I know. I made the Juche joke.
Yeah.
And it's Venezuela, which I think undeniably America tried to coup Venezuela recently.
Yeah, for sure. 1000%. Literally. To the point where Elon Musk is fucking tweeting about it.
That's undeniable. And before that, people overestimate America's involvement in the inflation crisis of Venezuela. And when I say that, it's because Maduro literally, and I mean very literally, decided to print fucking money.
Oh, so he just went full Weimar Republic with it.
Yes, and we all know the moment you start printing money, that's when
Yeah.
hyperinflation happens.
Yeah.
But he made the issues were that when things were going well, Hugo Chavez had no issue being nice. When he was, oil money was coming in, and he had no problem doing a little bit of socialism and spending some money on people, right? The issue is when things started going bad, he turned into his like real issue started, where he's like, oh, now people are talking bad about me because I'm not overwhelmingly popular, and so he would start silencing people. He doubled down and made things a lot more fucking draconian, and I don't think that's okay.
And you know what's interesting is I actually just watched a TikTok of someone talking about the Dominican Republic and how I'm fucking uncultured and ignorant as fuck. So,
You're fine.
But they're talking about how the conversation started about how this woman had a baby and her grandmother didn't want her playing with black dolls, essentially. And it got
Colorism
into
is extremely real.
yeah. But she was talking about how during World War II, the dude only let all those Jewish people in and like gave them like fucking 80 acres, a mule and 10 cows and all that shit. Not because he actually gave a fuck about the Jewish people, but because he had just finished like genociding the fuck out of a bunch of indigenous people, and that was a bad look on the world stage. So that was hand in glove with the fact that he was actively trying to make the Dominican Republic whiter. So like, yeah, just get all them fucking Jewish people in there.
I believe that. There's obviously got to be some weird ass fucking reason there's a bunch of Jews, there's a large Jewish population.
I'm gonna when I go, I might fuck with that TikTok just because I feel really fucking silly not knowing any names or historical context. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's fine.
I don't want to throw because I'm actually doing good this game, so I'll do it in a second.
But I was on a panel with Kat and we talked about Dominican Republic and Haiti, or we talked about Haiti. And I did my entire time talking about Dominican Republic is doing much better than Haiti because Dominican Republic fucking bowed to imperialist.
Yeah.
Played the game.
Mm-hmm.
Haiti didn't, and so they've been consistently punished for it.
Right. Which is my take on our our Francois comrades. Or lack thereof. What the fuck? Alright, let me find this TikTok. What does a white demographic do for a country? Yeah, I wonder, Wither King. Displacement sounds like a great idea. I don't know what you liberal capitalist cocks are talking about. Let me see. TikTok.
So
I think I liked it, so it should be my liked TikToks. Fuck. Nope, sure ain't.
So, wait for that. The other country is Vietnam. I cannot.
Oh, here it is.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Claro, muñeca linda de Ori. ¿Y cuál es la que están allí? You see, that is the way of the old school Dominican who was raised in Trujillo's era and is still very much brainwashed. Because you were indoctrinated by a dictator who hated black and brown people, 65 years later, your granddaughter can't even play with a doll that looks like her. Because you were told to stay out of the sun, that black and brownness was ugly, and that you should strive to be as light as you possibly can. That if you have a white nose, just keep pressing it down so it gets smaller and smaller. We got to get rid of all of these traces. ¿Y para dónde tú vas con ese pelo malo? Why are you leaving the house with your natural hair? Why do you not have a fresh blowout every second of the day? And if you are too dark and you can't get away from your blackness, don't worry. Just tell them you're Indian. Because you're different, right? You don't even give these children a chance at learning how to love themselves because you're so busy telling them what to fix and how to fix it. You hand these children a step-by-step manual on how to absolutely hate everything about themselves. And then you say, hey, yeah, go create a family, but tú tienes que mejorar la raza. Trujillo's favorite slogan, tú tienes que mejorar la raza. You have to procreate with white or lighter people to get rid of the blackness. Nah, but Trujillo wasn't racist. Hold on, are you talking about the same man that slaughtered thousands of Haitians in 1937? And then turned around and accepted 100,000 Jews at the border, gifted them each 80 acres, a horse, a mule, and 10 cows. And he did that for two reasons. Number one, he was in hot water because the rest of the world found out about the Parsley Massacre. And to get back in the world's good graces, he basically accepted these people who really did need help at the time, but it wasn't because he cared. It perfectly aligned with his goal to whiten the Dominican community. But honestly, him and his descendants, I'm not arguing with nobody Rosa Parks would have shot the motherfucking shit out of. I will instead say that I'm proud of this mom and our generation for fighting back against the bullshit that our parents were taught. And because for so many years they have radically taught us to hate any sign of our blackness, I'm proud of our generation for radically teaching these children to love the shit out of themselves. And I talk about this in my book, that you think that Dominicans are just natural-born hairdressers, and all they are professional kink removers. It is so healing for me to see little girls rocking their curls because I did not see my natural hair pattern till I was 20. And this is why I say that loving yourself unapologetically is the most radical thing that you could do.
Facts. But what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
So for the record, if you this is such a big, well-known genocide that it's on the list of like
the Parsley Massacre.
Look at it, yeah, if you look at like the list of genocides by death toll, it's on there.
Oh shit! Damn. My leftist card is revoked.
It's a huge one. I actually don't know a lot about it because I don't get into Trujillo. I don't learn about a lot of Dominican culture around Trujillo times because none of my. It was even like my dad didn't even know about it. Like he told me like what his parents told him, like that Trujillo would about like what it was. His parents told him what it was like living that time, and they're talking about like Trujillo would come to your town. You'd all have to like stand around and give him a parade, and then you just come and pick any woman he liked and take him. There was no question, like they would just come with them immediately.
I think because I was reading like some of Trump's shit where when he was planning that military parade or whatever. And someone from the Trujillo era, I guess, was like, yo, we did this, like Trujillo did this just to show the people who the people with the guns were. And that's not what America is, and that's not what we do. Which was wrong,
yeah, I don't
but that. Yeah, right. But it was funny at the moment.
It's a wild, like the Dominican, it's such a very, Dominican racism towards Haitians is such a jarring thing that, especially if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just reading about the massacre just so I can understand it better.
I feel it. Speaking of massacres, what up, Arun? We're just talking about, just talking general politics, honestly. Just kind of vibing, letting the conversation meander. If you want to hop in, do you want to jump in? Because I know Arun wanted to talk about Sri Lankan stuff too, and I wanted to talk about that too. Do you want to jump into my Discord so Arun can jump in?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. I'll be in the live and I'll drag you in. Just join waiting or something. All right. Dope. All right. Yeah, Arun, if you want to jump in and join the conversation, please do. You know, you're more than welcome. Just let me know when you jump in so I can drag you in. Because you know I got to keep the security tight in this bitch. These motherfuckers try to come in spamming swastikas and shit in my fucking Discord server.
So, what I was talking about before is Vietnam is one that, like, it instantly gives me sus star when people start, like, a lot of MLs do that, where they, like, talk great, like, they really hype up Vietnam's government.
Yeah.
Even though it is a literal one-party state.
Well, I mean, where one party doesn't fuck me up is that if it's the Workers' Party, that makes sense. Like, if you could choose representatives within the party, that's cool. But if it's legit just like a fucking like fake ass election, then that's pretty cool.
No, the CPV, they decide who's allowed to run. You have to get promote, like the party in control decides who gets to run. Literally, like it's formalized.
The reason why I don't necessarily have a problem with that is because if we're talking real, like, fucking Marx theory and shit, the dictatorship of the proletariat would be that solely to ensure that the capitalist class don't regain power through administration. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can see what you're saying, but this isn't the case in Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Vietnam is still very much a capitalist system.
Okay, never mind then, yeah.
So I'll read the first part. Was like, was the current head of government or chief national authority elected through free and fair elections? The president is elected by a national assembly for a 5-year term. The current prime minister has run his 3rd term. So it's only like party members have been elected for the past couple of elections. I'm trying to get to the. Was the current national legislative representative elected through free and fair elections? Elections to the 499 seat. I'm not trying to pronounce that. The National Assembly are controlled only by the CPV, which won 485 seats. In rubber stamp elections, candidates who are technically independent but are in fact vetted by the CPV took other 14 states. Fewer independent candidates set out in 21 elections than in 2016 poll. So like, it's the CPV is the only legally recognized party. It vets all candidates, and if you're independent at all, you're disqualified.
Interesting.
No, like there's no senior positions for anyone, like for anyone of a non-majority group. Like if you're not Vietnamese, or if you're LGBT, ethnic, religious, anything different, you're not. And you can be in the party, but you're never going to be in a good high position.
Yeah, that's where it gets sus, like extremely sus. Because China is kind of the same way. On top of China's little African projects, because you know I'm a stand for Africa no matter what, and I don't like that shit.
Also, like there's a lot of corruption in CPV. There's also you're not allowed to investigate them journalistically. There are no independent courts or anything like that.
Oh, naturally.
There's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's sus. I'm not gonna hold you. That is kind of sus.
It's they do the same thing as China regarding like the internet, like Facebook, Google, and YouTube are all heavily fucking censored.
That's wild. I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't really mean anything. But the fact that they would try to do that is very telling.
In April of last year, the government sentenced the journalist to 8 years in jail for posting anti-state writing.
Tight.
In August, 5 journalists were charged with abusing democratic freedoms.
Tight. Yeah, sounds very revolutionary.
University professors are not allowed to criticize the government, must only teach party views, especially when writing political documents.
Damn, where have I heard this before? This all sounds weirdly familiar. Very strangely familiar.
A university professor was fired for criticizing the government's lack of aid to people economically impacted with COVID. And this is one thing, like, where the reason why it makes me so mad at stuff like that, for example, is if you look at Second Thought's video on how America handles COVID, he contrasts that by saying how well Vietnam handled it.
Oh, yikes.
And the issue is Vietnam didn't release how they handled it because they made everyone quickly get vaccinated and they made people quarantine, but anyone negatively affected by it, they didn't give a fuck. They don't release bad things.
That's like people are saying, like, yeah, there's no fucking, or what was it? What was that country? It was like Tanzania or something like that, where like there's no COVID there. That's how you know it's a hoax. It's like, no, motherfucker. 99% of their fucking GDP is tourism. Of course they're gonna tell you there's no fucking COVID there.
Yeah, well, it's also like when China acted like Wuhan had 0 cases after COVID-19. It's like, that's literally impossible.
Yeah, there's no fucking way. You're gonna have asymptomatic carriers or whatever.
Like, no matter how well you handle it. And I'm sure they didn't just suggest people stay inside.
Thank you, Wither
I guarantee you, they haven't shown it, but it seems like there's a forced barrier around the city.
Oh yeah, there. I mean, yeah, there is. You could see it. There were journalists talking about it, about how you had to stay in your home. People were quarantined, and they were like going up the streets, fucking like sanitizing the air and shit. Just real weirdo shit.
So, death penalty is also applied in Vietnam for drug trafficking, which I think is always
Okay, yeah, that's
country.
the fact that you even have a death penalty in the first place is sus, but that you apply it to drug usage that's yeah. Where have I heard all this before? This all sounds so weirdly familiar, and I just can't place it.
Vietnamese citizens who are repatriated after attempting to seek asylum abroad can face harassment or imprisonment. So if you like piss off the government and you try to leave, and they catch you back, you're obviously gonna be fucked.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean that's just.
I was gonna say that just kind of yeah. That's just kind of par for the course. I feel like even like if Steven Seagal tried to come back to America, he'd probably catch a bunch of shit, even from his own constituents.
See, the thing is, the reason why people don't talk about this is because basically, all you have to, because it's the same reason why people in China don't like rise up and shit like that, or like get super mad. Is because most of your life isn't gonna be super affected by this.
Right.
Like, all you have to do.
Bro, I
like,
can't spin this in here.
is-
Fuck. Oh, there we go. Cool. All right. Sorry.
It's like if you just shut your Arun's been waiting apparently.
Oh, he's in rain. All right, hang on.
Is if you just shut your fucking. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna. Let me hurry up. All right, there we go. Sorry. Oh, and I look away for 2 fucking seconds. They drop all these blocks on me. We can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, cool.
So
just wanted to
just to
double
finish-
check because I'm on my desktop and every time I boot up on my desktop, like Discord always fucks with the setting. So that's
worries.
like it always fucks with the mic settings and the audio settings. So I always
Yeah.
have to manually adjust it.
It'll ask you if you want to switch and all that shit. Mine does the same thing. It's a pain in
Yeah,
the
it's
ass.
so annoying.
So to finish what I was saying real quick.
It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. So if you like for them, the citizens see it as like all I have to do to live a normal life is basically just shut my fucking mouth.
It's the same deal with America, more or less. I mean, you're still gonna. There's still shit you'll run into, like even as Candace Owens and her ilk. But like, yeah, same story. Like,
I mean, it's not yes, but it's not as I don't think it's. The difference is that the government will take versus like where the culture enforces it. Like there's,
yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
there's more
Yeah.
nebulous systems to like punish people that speak out. Like that's why it's so much easier to make money as a conservative than it is as like a leftist.
True.
It's because
there's a difference there.
Challenge the actual power establishment, and that's why like it challenges the like.
Yeah.
It challenges like people being comfortable essentially, and
Mhm.
oftentimes.
Yeah, so its biggest weakness is that it's unpopular. Versus in Vietnam or China, you will be taken out back and probably shot, or you're gonna get your ass beat. You're gonna get your ass beat.
Getting
taken
caned.
for 2 months. Yes.
Yeah,
You're
I
going
think
to get
with I think
go
with
ahead.
America, you see this sort of veneer of like the thing with America is that like there's a level of how do I say it? There's like the veneer of respectability, or there's like this veneer of like
I was
like
gonna.
there are personal freedoms that are afforded to you in the United States, or there are personal conveniences that are afforded to you in the United States that convey the false sense of like freedom. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas in a lot of other countries, like that, even that is not like afforded to you.
I feel like also just because of how the United States functions and how it deals with a lot of its ideological enemies, like leftism itself was just commodified. You know what I mean? In the way,
Yeah.
and we see it play out on Twitch politics all the time, where motherfuckers will be the most Negro hatingest fucking darky hating Klansmen imaginable, but because they want Medicare for all and free weed, that means they're a leftist. You know what I mean? And
Correct.
Right.
Tell me what you think of this statement. I think America's biggest problem is capitalism and privatization. The privatization of all things, like especially the government. The government is a privatized system, basically.
Right.
Versus, I think in places like Vietnam, capitalization isn't the issue. It's the government has decided to run things the way it desires.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like the thing with America is that it's a lot more insidious the way that like leftist voices get filtered out, right? Like, for example, like I'm not like whatever your opinions may be of Cenk Uygur, right? But like when he ran for House, right? They were vicious towards him.
Oh yeah.
They were absolutely vicious towards him, right? The Democratic Party. And it's because they did everything they could to shut him down. It's like they won't like it's like an image thing, right? They won't outright shoot him, right? They won't outright kill him or anything, right? Because like that looks way too suspicious, right? That looks way too. I mean, again, what was it? Michael Hastings, I think, died or something, and he died under suspicious circumstances as well.
Was that the dude whose like his brakes failed in his car or some shit
Yes.
like that? Yeah, that was hella sus.
Yeah, he died under really suspicious circumstances, right? Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the Fed got him, right?
The only thing that makes that sus to me was the fact that the Prism docs dropped like immediately after that, and that's when you found out that like number one, cars have computers in them, obviously, but like cutting your brake lines, like remotely doing that kind of shit to your car is something that the government has the power to do.
Right. Exactly. So I mean that like the government will do shit like that, but it's not as though like I feel like there's a veneer of respectability here in the United States that isn't afforded to you in countries like India or Sri Lanka, obviously. Like in those countries, like, and it's not to say that obviously, like, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, America's like inherently better because democracy, right? Like Sri Lanka is also, it is also a democracy. At least on paper, it's supposed to be a democracy, right? But you know, for decades, it's largely been an ethnocracy.
Yeah.
It's largely just been ruled by one particular ethnicity, and it's basically meant the marginalization of the ethnic group, the minority ethnic groups on the island. Like the Tamils, the Sri Lankan Tamils went through a legit genocide that was basically backed by every country on the planet. Like America, China, India, Pakistan, Israel, like everyone basically gave arms to China, right? Sorry, they gave arms to Sri Lanka, excuse me. And they basically let Sri Lanka basically commit, like hundreds of thousands of people died in the span of a week. Like, and these are, to give you an idea of the scale, right? To give you the idea of a scale, like the average village or the average town in Sri Lanka is about 100,000. So we're talking about entire villages being basically shelled into oblivion. Entire towns and entire cities being shelled into oblivion. Right? That's the sort of like scale of damage that we're talking about in Sri Lanka. Right? Like there's just an open genocide that was committed. Right? In Bangladesh, which I just talked about, right? Or like a couple days ago. They recently banned the use of the word indigenous in the media.
Wow. That's pretty fucking sus.
No, you want to know? Okay, so Bangladesh is, I want to preface this with this: Bangladeshi independence was completely justified, right? Because Pakistan and the United States were basically just, they perpetrated a genocide of Bengalis, right? So that is 100. It's not to say like the Bengali independence movement or the Bengali liberation movement and the Bengali Liberation War was unjustified. It was 100% justified and it was necessary in the moment, right? That being said, however, for those very same independence, leaders, the same freedom fighters to then turn around and say, no, everyone in Bangladesh is a Bengali. right? No. Like you don't get, like indigenous people do not get their rights in Bangladesh. No, you do not get the because so basically the demographic breakdown of Bangladesh is like 98% of the country is Bengali. 98% of the country is Bengali. I don't know about you, but that's what I would call an ethno state.
Yeah.
Like, that is an ethno state at its that is an ethno state. And that figure from 98% to 2, that it used to not be as bad as it is now. It's getting worse, right? But basically, the 2% of people, they're largely indigenous tribes on the borders with India, basically. Right? They're called Juma peoples, which used to be an ethnic slur, but it's since been adopted into the mainstream.
They took it back.
I wouldn't say they took it back. It's just like people used it. It's kind of like people used it so much that it kind of like, because you can kind of say they took it back, yes. But
I think I get what you're saying though, where they just kind of accepted it, and because it got used so much, it wasn't really considered a slur as much anymore.
Yeah, and by the way, it's meant to be like a confederation. So the word actually it's used as a collection. So basically what that means is like there are multiple indigenous tribes of Bangladesh, right? And what ended up happening is they wanted to come together as like one indigenous group. So then the word that was used to collectively refer to them pejoratively was Juma, right? But then they're like, all right, fuck it, we're Jumas now, right? Because we all have to fight for our land rights. And so what these people wanted was a return to the 1900s agreement under the British, where it was the Chittagong Hill Tracts, which is the region that borders Myanmar and India. They wanted to return. So under the British rule, they actually had some level of autonomy, right? At least within like the 1900s and 1800s, the early 1900s. They wanted to return to that, right? Where they had autonomy over their own land. And then Bangladesh has basically refused to give them any sort of autonomy. And what they did is they started settling Bengalis into the region. And they started basically saying, well, fuck you. We're going to settle Bengalis into that region because it's Bangladesh. It's Bangladesh literally means the land of the Banglas, right? The land of the Bengalis, right? So that's what Bangladesh means, right? So they started settling ethnic Bengalis into that region. And basically there was a two-decade-long civil war in Bangladesh, right? And long story short, the rebel groups lost. They were backed by India, but they lost eventually. And then what ended up happening as a result of that was, what happened as a result of that was they basically, the rebel groups, the indigenous peoples, not all of them who were in the rebel group, but a lot of the indigenous people, as a result of the loss of the rebel group, they basically had to take whatever the Bangladeshi government was going to give them. And so after the civil war ended in 1997, there were basically more Bengali settlers into that region. And on top of that, so there was like massive like amounts of sexual assault towards the women. Like there would be abductions of indigenous women by the Bengalis, by like very extremist Bengalis. And what would end up happening is there's also, on top of that, Saudi Arabia is involved in this as well, because they started funding like madrasas. They started funding Islamic schools, right? Because they wanted to export, because Saudi Arabia wanted to export like soft power in Bangladesh as well. So that also worsened the situation. And it basically, a lot of indigenous people were forced to convert to Islam, right? As a result of all this, right? They were forced to convert out of their original religion, right? So,
sounds familiar.
So,
yeah, this sounds super, super familiar to, like, again, the point that this illustrates is that I talked about this with Famous Horse the other day, and this illustrates a microcosm of like what kind of the U.S. has been doing, kind of what Israel has been doing for a very long time. And it just goes to show you that anyone is capable of this.
Right.
Doesn't matter like what ethnicity you belong to. This is like hierarchies can be enforced by anyone.
Right.
So it's funny, not necessarily super funny, but
I get what you mean. It's it's a very sick kind of.
Not ha ha funny. Weird funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like the funny that's like God fucking. It's the Joker kind of funny where it's like, oh,
so
Joker build.
I'm reading
Joker
freedomhouse.org.
build kind of funny or black build. Kind of funny.
Reading the freedomhouse.org segment on Sri Lanka, and this is the first time I've ever seen this. Normally it's a score out of 1 to 4, and like the worst it gives is 0. But is the government or occupying power deliberately changing the ethnic composition of a country or territory so as to destroy a culture or tip the political balance in favor of another group? It has a score of -1, and I have never seen it.
Sheesh.
Wait,
God
Sri
damn.
Lanka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. No, they've been doing that for decades now. Yeah. No, they've been committing an open genocide of the Tamils for a long time. They've been doing it for a very long time. So Sri Lanka had a 25-year-long civil war, right? Yeah, like basically so I talked about this a little bit on Endless's stream earlier, but you have to go back to basically when Sri Lanka got its independence, or like slightly under British rule, right? So what the British did was the ethnic makeup of Sri Lanka is this. The vast majority of Sri Lanka are Sinhalese people, right? So they can trace their origins to what is now Bengal, right? So northern India, northeastern India, basically, right? So that's where they trace their origin to. The second largest ethnicity on the island are Tamils, Sri Lankan Tamils, Elam Tamils, right? And these guys occupy like they live on the northern and eastern coasts, right, of Sri Lanka. They're largely like fishermen. Now, the reason Sri Lanka hits personally home to me is because I'm also a Tamil, but I'm not from Sri Lanka. I'm Indian.
Are you from Tamil Nadu?
Yes, I'm from Tamil Nadu. Yes.
So, to add to that,
yes.
The current president.
Did you know about that because I said it? Or
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you told me that before, but I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah. So there's the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, which is like where most of the Tamils are to begin with, right? There's like 60, 70 million of us there, right? And then there's like several million, or I don't know what the population is now in Sri Lanka, but like there's like several million on the northern coast of Sri Lanka, right? And basically, the British, when they owned Sri Lanka, what happened was there was like two sets of nationalist movements, right? So there were the Tamil nationalists, which rose in response to the Sinhalese nationalists, and there was ethnic tensions that were basically kind of stoked by the British a little, right? And basically, what ended up happening was, as the British were leaving, right, they would prop like Tamils into positions of power just to antagonize the Sinhalese, right? And I'm not giving the full picture. I'm basically giving an abbreviated version of this, right? But once the British left, what ended up happening is Tamil nationalism and Sinhalese nationalism were at their highest, right? But like Tamil nationalism, because Tamils are a minority on the island, right? They basically tried to carve out some like level of like autonomy for themselves, which was basically denied at every turn by the Sinhalese nationalists in power. And one example of this was shortly after the British left, Sinhala, the language of the Sinhalese, was made the only official language of Sri Lanka, right? And basically that basically barred 25% of the population from getting a government job. And this is not a country that has like open markets or whatever, right? This is not a country that is liberalized yet, right? This is like a lot of the jobs that are necessary are government jobs, right? So if you want a lot of like, especially like India, Sri Lanka, these sorts of countries, if you wanted to get a job in those days, it was most likely through the government. And because Sinhala was made the official language, that barred 25% of people from getting a government job. Because the Tamils did not speak Sinhalese as a native language. Okay, that happened. And then basically throughout the 50s and all the way up to the 80s, right? What ended up happening was a series of pogroms happened towards the Tamils, right? So basically there were basically fascist mobs that wantonly attacked Tamil-owned establishments, Tamil-owned homes, right? Like Tamil-owned stores, Tamil-owned, homes and stuff. And what ended up happening is they ended up slaughtering they ended up killing innocent Tamil civilians, right? The fascist mobs did. And they basically, they basically obviously sexually assaulted the women and children. Trigger warning. We're getting into some very gruesome shit. If you want to know, kind of what happened towards the end of the Civil War, there's a documentary that if you have the stomach to watch it, if you don't feel like you're in a good place where you can watch it, don't watch it at all, right? Like this is like that movie, that documentary I'm gonna.
Yo, what up, Catboy Collector? Welcome.
Deeply upsetting documentary, but we'll get to that later. But basically there was a series of pogroms where Tamils were attacked and murdered just for being Tamil, right? Because they were seen as like disloyal to the government, right? And it's the Sinhalese nationalist government, right? And then in 1981, what ended up happening was so in the northern part of Sri Lanka, there's a city called Jaffna, which is kind of like the cultural capital of the Tamils of Sri Lanka, right? Jaffna is where all like Jaffna, to give you an idea, the Jaffna dialect of Tamil is probably the most conservative dialect. It retains like features from like thousands of years ago in the language, right? So, and Tamil has like a very long storied history. It's like thousands of years old, right? That like there are words in Tamil that exist in ancient Hebrew, just to give you an idea.
Damn.
That's how old the language is, right? It's a very old language, right? And so we have a long literary history. And within the Jaffna Public Library, there was palm leaf manuscripts. And what ended up happening was the Sinhalese cops, the Sri Lankan cops and Sinhalese fascist mobs, right? They went in and burned down the library.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they burned down the library, right? And they had like original. So there's a book called the Tirukkural, right? Which is probably the most important book in Tamil literature by far. It's more important than any religious book, right? It's like that important. It's that deeply ingrained in the identity of the Tamil people, right? Like even if you don't read it, like you'll have some sense of like, you'll have some like there's some level of that influence in the way you conduct yourself.
It's
right?
almost like the Bible and how people can be like ethnically or socially Christian, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like that, except like this is completely secular, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
They had like original copies, not the original document, but they had original like palm leaf manuscript copies of that book in that library. These are like thousands-year-old documents. These are thousands-year-old artifacts.
Like priceless.
Right?
Priceless.
Priceless, yeah. It's all gone, up in smoke. They torched it.
It's fucking ridiculous, yo.
Like if you watch, there's like a video of it on YouTube, right? You see like the library being burnt down. They rebuilt it.
But you like, can't read, like, that shit you can't, I don't know, yo. That shit's so fucking infuriating.
No, it is. Like, no, they rebuilt it, and then, like, the Tamils there were like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you acted like it's fucking nothing. You just
a library is more than a fucking building. Like, way more than a building. I'm,
yeah,
like, tearing up behind this shit, low-key.
Exactly. Like, what the yeah, like, the fuck is wrong with you assholes, right?
So, and to ask you more about that, I'm also reading that apparently, maybe you can tell me more about it, like the Sri Lanka, the president like created this what is it, the task force for archaeological heritage management.
That just sounds sus. That just sounds like some.
Seems like what they're doing is going into like other cultural areas and like labeling it and having the officials label it as like Buddhist heritage sites.
Yeah, so they're doing land grabs. on. So what
I
they're
knew
doing
it.
right now is this is actually something that isn't reported on at all, but yes, the government is basically they're basically going into northern parts of the country, which are, so the Tamils are largely Hindu. There's a most of the Tamils in the northern parts of the country are Hindus. There's a decent chunk that are Christian, but basically what they're doing is they're going into the northern parts of the country and they're basically deeming it as like Buddhist like temples. And they're basically saying, no, this is Buddhist temple, so this is our territory now. Right? So they're basically labeling like Tamil Hindu cultural sites in Sri Lanka as Buddhist.
So it's like Buddhist manifest destiny, low key.
Basically, yes. Buddhist Sinhalese manifest destiny.
It's more
basically.
like, it's kind of more like what Israel's doing, right?
Yeah.
This is all.
It's just a
this is
straight up
all ours because it's Jewish history.
Right, just straight up apartheid state.
Except they're just
No,
they don't
Sri
even
Lanka
have
is an
the
apartheid
advantage.
state.
Yeah.
No, it is an apartheid state. Even today, if I'm not mistaken, like the northern part of the country is still under military occupation.
Damn.
Right? It's still under military occupation. And the reason people shut the fuck up about Sri Lanka is because everyone, regardless of the country, wants a piece of Sri Lanka. There's capital there that people want. So like, you're not going to hear about this from America. You're not.
It benefits. It benefits America for that region to be destabilized for sure.
But you're also not going to hear about it from China either. You're not.
Can you-
It
Oh,
also
fuck no.
benefits them too. Like,
Right, exactly. We were actually just talking about how sus China is, just with how they've been moving in Africa. So I'm sure that they have their sights set on Sri Lanka as well.
Arun,
basically,
tell me what you know
well,
about-
to answer your question, Endless, basically what they're doing in Africa, they've been doing in Pakistan and Sri Lanka for a long time.
Oh yeah, I bet.
They've been doing it in. Because
I knew about Pakistan,
They've been doing it in,
but not. So I was gonna say I knew about Pakistan, but not about Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka is not as successful because Sri Lanka is kind of like in this position where everyone wants a piece of Sri Lanka, right? I mean, Pakistan is largely contested between the U.S. and China, but Pakistan doesn't really have that many natural resources like Sri Lanka does, or it doesn't have like a geostrategic position in the same sense. Like Sri Lanka is like in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Right.
Right? That's important to have. That's like having ports there, having refineries there in Sri Lanka.
Offshore drilling and shit. Yeah, that's crucial.
Yeah, that's crucial, right? Like you said, it's very crucial. That's why everyone wants a piece of Sri Lanka, right? But China's been doing this in like South Asia for a long time, right? And partially it's because, I mean, India and China are obviously not on good terms, right? Now, I don't personally have a stake in I think some of what China's been doing is really sus and is really fucked up. Like, they claim like there are parts of India that are administered by India. There are parts that are administered by India that China claims as part of Tibet, which is like, I don't know about that one. Like, and they also like took part of Kashmir, which is like it's independent territory that's like occupied by all three countries, Pakistan, India, and China.
To
and it's
be
like
fair, though, the Kashmir area would prefer, as far as I can tell, they would prefer, like, I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm
the
wrong.
Kashmiris want independence. They don't want anything to do with any of these.
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
I would feel like the default position of any people would be independence, but
Yeah,
So,
I just,
for
as
a
far
lot
as
of
I'm
people,
aware,
it's like-
though,
for a lot of people- So
Sorry.
for what I saw a bunch of polls, and basically what the general consensus is, a lot of people are just saying like they either hedge their bets on like, some of them will say, I want to join Pakistan because of the way India treats us, and that is a valid like reason to join Pakistan, right? Like a lot
okay,
of people.
yeah, you're talking about what I was getting at.
A lot of people do want to join Pakistan because of the way India is treating them. But like Pakistan also does like massive suppression of Kashmiris.
Yeah,
as
Pakistan's not exactly based.
well. Yeah, Pakistan is not good either. Like that's the thing when you talk about these sorts of countries. Like when you talk about these sorts of countries, there are no good guys here. Like they all.
oh yeah,
Like, meanwhile,
people get
India
fucked up
is
behind the whole
literally
America
trying to
bad shit.
genocide. Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, India's literally just trying to slowly erase Muslims.
right.
Yeah, I mean like they're all fascist countries, or like they're all like very sus to begin with, right?
Modi's definitely, like, I don't think
No, Modi.
I don't know
yeah,
if you deny.
Modi,
Modi's definitely like just a fascist.
Oh yeah.
No, dude. No, dude. I know. I know.
No,
Nightwolf-
no, that was more of like a question.
I was
Like,
gonna
that more
say-
like, do you agree?
I was gonna say Nightwolf fucking hates Modi. That shit's mad funny.
I really don't like Modi.
No, Modi is
Something
just garbage. No one everyone in my state hates him. Like everyone that I know, like that I talk to, including myself, hates him. Like we don't like him either.
Okay.
We fucking hated it. Because the thing is, it's not gonna stop with Muslims as well, right?
Right.
Muslims
And
are
that-
just
that's-
now they're
it's-
just the target. They're just the current target for the time being. Right?
Exactly. It never
It's not gonna
stops.
stop with-
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. Like these guys have been hurling shit about at lower caste people for a very long time, at marginalized caste people for a very long time, right? So it's not just gonna stop with these guys. It's not gonna stop with Muslims or Christians. Sikhs are next on that list as well, because like you can tell just by the rhetoric that they use, right? So they'll be
Yeah.
like, Muslims aren't
ahead.
always a target. What? I mean, technically you're right. They're not always a target, but like they are a target in India. Yeah, they are.
I mean, Sikhs were a target in America, so they kind of all are.
Yeah, like I was saying this about 9/11. Like after 9/11, if you were any kind of just brown, like Sikhs, fucking, Hindi people, like yeah, it was open
Oh,
season.
they
on
said
all y'all.
Muslims already talking. I thought I said Sikhs.
Hindu is the word you're looking for.
Hindu. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Hindi's a language, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I fucked that up with
um,
Filipino as well. My fucking math teacher in 8th grade clapped me for that.
Nah, you're good.
So
You're good.
I'm-
People make that
I'm
mistake
curious,
all the time.
Arun, what
Yeah.
your thoughts? Like, can you explain maybe a bit better the Prevention of Terrorism Act in Sri Lanka that they're using?
Lee Gandhi.
So the Prevention of Terrorism Act is basically the Tamil Tigers are the rebel group that fought in the Civil War, right?
Yes.
So the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. So I wouldn't throw, like, just to give context to everyone that's watching, I wouldn't throw my hat with them, right? I wouldn't say like critical support to the Tamil Tigers either. They have blood on their hands and they are terrorists, right? They are absolutely terrorists. Right?
We don't have to get into it now, but I know you have like personal beef with them too.
Yeah, we have I have personal beef. I mean, I can say it. Like they tried to assassinate my grandmother and they tried to kill my father. So I'm not a fan of them, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of the Tamil Tigers whatsoever, right? Like I would not have been born if it wasn't for them. If they got their way. So not a big fan of that. But basically so the Prevention of Terrorism Act in Sri Lanka is basically it's kind of like the Patriot Act, I would say. There's a where is it? POTA, Prevention of Terrorism Act Sri Lanka. Basically,
PTA.
it's PT. I saw it spelled as like Prevention of Terrorism Act. Yes. So, PTA. Yeah, that's right. So basically, what that is it's just a law that it allows the Sri Lankan government to accuse any Tamil person of being a terrorist and then just lock them up.
Oh, so it is just a.
It's
just
Patriot Act, yeah.
It is Patriot Act, basically. It is basically Patriot Act. And so basically what what were we talking about before this? Yeah. So we were talking about the Civil War, right? So in 1983, right? This is when the Civil War starts. So there's a pogrom called Black July. And what happens is, first off, the LTTE kills a bunch of Sri Lankan soldiers, right? And they're at war with each other. This is a rebel group against the government, right? Right. So this is just a normal casualty, right? But what happened was, in response to the army guys dying, to the soldiers dying, what ended up happening is Sri Lankan Sinhalese fascist mobs were backed by the government. So basically what happened was the government provided voter rolls, like the locations of every house, to these fascist mobs. And what they did is they specifically targeted Tamil-owned homes in like Colombo and in the southern parts of the country.
They just ripped off Indonesia.
Yeah, they basically targeted, like they basically burned down Tamil-owned establishments, Tamil-owned homes. They killed Tamil men. They killed, raped Tamil men, women, and children. Like about 2,000, 3,000 people died in Black July, and that basically marks the beginning of the Civil War. And basically, it's a protracted civil war that lasted like 25 years, right? And it ended in 2009 in like the most bloody way possible, right? So the guys, so you probably are familiar with Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Mahinda Rajapaksa, right?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Those guys, so those are the guys that just left, right? Sri Lanka, right? Those are the guys that were just thrown out of office, right? So the
Okay.
president,
All right. Yeah.
so Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the guy that was the president. You saw the guys bathing in his like chilling in his pool and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was G shit.
Just think of like, you know how Trump literally put in all of his family members. Just think of that with like 5 cents worth.
Right.
And then for multiple terms.
It's really bad. Yeah, like basically there's like 10 family members from that family that were in government, right?
It's basically a neptocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets worse, right?
That shit's crazy.
So Gotabaya's brother. So that really didn't get that much press coverage, I think, when Mahinda, or I think they burnt his personal house down. Yeah,
Let's go.
They burned down his house, right? They burned down the prime minister's house, right? So Mahinda Rajapaksa was the prime minister before the current president was prime. So Ranil Wickremesinghe is the current president, but he was just prime minister before this, right? And then the prime minister before that was Mahinda Rajapaksa. A lot happened within the past 6 months, right? You can probably tell, right? And basically, so Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa also had positions of power back in the end of the Civil War. So Mahinda Rajapaksa, who's the prime minister, was at the time during the Civil War, he was the president during the Civil War, during the closing stages of the Civil War. And Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the defense minister during the Civil War. So both of them were the heads of the army, right? You can probably tell where this is going. So during the closing stages of the Civil War, what happened was there was these no-fire zones that were set up across Sri Lanka during the northern parts of Sri Lanka. And what happened was...
Those rules were followed.
Right.
What?
Just like in Baltimore, the no-shoot zone. You know what I mean? Nobody ever gets shot in a no-shoot zone.
No-shoot zone, basically, right? What ended up happening was the Tamil Tigers basically used those no-fire zones as shelter. And what ended up happening was the Sri Lankan government was like, ha, thank you, you came into the no-fire zone. We're gonna start shelling everything now. And the other thing is like, what happened was the NGOs that were in Sri Lanka were forced to evacuate because the Sri Lankan government basically said, if you don't leave, we can't guarantee your safety. Right? We're gonna basically like, if you don't leave, we're gonna kill you. I don't care. Right? That's what they literally said to the workers of the NGO workers. They're like, yeah, if you guys don't leave, we're gonna kill you. Right? Like, we're gonna blast you. Right? We're gonna just eat you. Right? And so then also there's like recordings of like Tamil civilians saying like please don't leave, they're going to kill us, we need someone to be here like to witness us dying, basically. So, like there are civilians like begging the NGOs like, hey, don't leave, they're gonna kill us. Like we need someone, we need evidence, we need proof that these guys are committing war crimes, they're gonna kill us. And
just send Dylan Burns over there. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
That's you.
For the record, this is literally the exact same thing that happened in Rwanda.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like this exact story, like where the NGOs were forced out right before the.
When yeah, I the only reason I know that is because I had to watch Hotel Rwanda in 10th grade. But
so here's the thing, right? This is actually worse than Rwanda, and here's why. So in Rwanda, Paul Kagame came to power. Paul Kagame is basically from the marginalized ethnicity, the ethnicity that was genocided, right? That was a victim of genocide. So there's some representation from the minority that came to power, right? And so there's some like reconciliation that happened in Rwanda. That never happened in Sri Lanka. That never happened. Like, to this day, all the leaders of Sri Lanka have been Sinhalese. There's been nothing. There's been no reconciliation.
Yeah, that's wild.
And like, here's the thing. I was on Jason's podcast talking, or I was on Jason's Stonercast, I was on his birthday podcast talking about this. And there was a Sri Lankan dude in the chat. And I was talking about like how like the northern parts of the country were under military occupation and shit like that. I was talking about like, I first, like, he liked the stuff that I was saying originally because I said, oh yeah, Rajapaksa is bad because they fucked up the economy. They did this, they did that, right? The economy. But the moment I said genocide, the moment I said this, the moment I started talking about the Tamil genocide, the moment I started talking about this, like, oh no, this guy's a terrorist.
A terrorist?
Yeah, because they said, oh, this guy's an LTTE supporter.
Oh god.
It's like, they called me an LTTE supporter even though the LTTE tried to kill my parents.
Right.
So, yeah.
Be like calling a Palestinian an IDF supporter.
Right.
No, it's
calling
like
a black person a Klansman.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's not like that.
Not quite that, but yeah.
No, it's not like that. Like, it's more like, how do I say it?
Oh wait, more like
the way, like the thing is, they my parents were also like originally they were also LTTE supporters.
I just gave up on that game. I'm not even gonna lie. I got too involved in the conversation. Rating Rookie in chat said, here's the interesting part of our geopolitical situation. We're bros with Iran. Israel supports Azerbaijan. Iran supports us, and none of it makes any sense. Are you from Israel, Rating Rookie, I guess? I take it?
No, he's Armenian.
Oh, he's Armenian. I'm sorry. Damn. So he's, I'm sure he's no stranger to
about that. Yeah.
He's no stranger to genocide either. Then.
Yeah. So it's very weird. He's right. Israel does support Azerbaijan. I guess it's because like it's it's because Azerbaijan has really rocky relations with Iran. I think that's the reason why. They don't like they have rocky relations with Iran and Armenia, and it's just weird alliances that are going on there, right?
Like
I don't know
enemy
too
of
much.
my enemy type vibes.
Yeah, that's the sort of sense that I got, but I don't know too much about the Caucasus or I don't know too much about the Caucasus region too much. My realm of expertise is South Asian politics, basically.
Right on.
So here's some other things I just read to add to how bad Rajapaksa is. In 2020, he pardoned an army staff sergeant that was who had been sentenced to death for murdering 8 Tamils, including 3 children.
Yep.
And then pardoned a former member of parliament who had been sentenced to death for killing a political rival.
Yes.
Like, you guys get pardons.
Yeah. No. That's like the least surprising. Like, that's like, yeah. No, so towards the end of the Civil War, these no-fire zones, like in these no-fire zones, basically there were makeshift hospitals, right? Like, their tents basically set up, right? And not to get super gruesome, but like an example of like the kind of shit that happened was there was a boy that got shot and needed an amputation. And there was no anesthesia and there was no proper way of doing it. So they had to perform it with a rusty kitchen knife.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah. Or they had to do it with a butcher's knife. It was really bad, right? It's gruesome as shit, right? And it's like you see those stories and it's like, where's the fucking humanity in all this, right?
Right.
There's no humanity left, right? And it's like so the other thing that the Sri Lankan government was also like really disgusting when it came to there were supplies that the Sri Lankan government was supposed to let into these no-fire zones. They delayed letting those supplies in as much as humanly possible. So they tried basically to not let supplies go into those regions. Like we're talking food, rations, that sort of thing.
Sheesh.
So they did whatever they can to prevent that from happening. Right? that's the sort of menace that the Sri Lankan government is. It's disgusting that they've managed to get away with this for so long. And the thing is, and so I don't want to dampen the mood with regards to like the quote unquote revolution that happened in Sri Lanka, right? But here's the thing with Sri Lanka, right? A lot of the people that overthrew the Rajapaksas, that hate the Rajapaksas now, they were the same motherfuckers that voted the Rajapaksas into power in the first place. And the reason they voted them into power in the first place was because of the massacres that these guys committed against the Tamils. Like, they voted for the Rajapaksas into power because of the war crimes that they committed. That's the reason. They're not angry that they elected fascists to power. They're cool with the fascists so long as their crumbs don't get touched.
Right.
So that's why, like, when people were cheering on, like, yeah, it's revolution, it's like, yeah. And it's like, dude, guys, like, you're missing a lot of context here. Like, yeah, Rajapaksas leaving are good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but, like, it's good. It's better than them being there. But, like, don't, like, cheer for everyone. Like, because a lot of those guys there was a fucking army veteran. There's a fucking army veteran that's like, oh, the Rajapaksas are demons. I'm like, motherfucker, you worked for those demons. Motherfucker, you worked for those demons. What are you on about?
Right.
Like, what are you on about, man? Like, you killed people on behalf of these demons. What's wrong with you? And like, that's like the one thing that's like about Sri Lanka that's like, I'm starting to think, like, right before the Gotabaya Rajapaksa left, right before the president like got thrown out, he put like a Buddhist fascist monk into like a high-ranking position, and it's like, if I still don't know if he's there. I don't know if that fascist monk is still in power, but if he's still there, like, Sri Lanka hasn't learned his lesson.
Is his name... Wait, is this the name of the group? Bodu Balasena?
Bodu Balasena. Bodu Balasena is like... Bodu Balasena is like what's the equivalent? I don't think they're like the Proud Boys. I think they're like just straight neo-Nazis here in the United States. Like, that's the closest they...
Damn.
So they're like Stormfront.
They're just neo-Nazis. They're the Sri Lankan equivalent of neo-Nazis, basically. I will shut up. I'm going to the concert. I will shut the fuck up. I am going to the concert today.
Are you live right now, Arun?
I am not live.
Oh.
I am not live. I'm going to a concert tonight, so that's why like today's my touch grass day. Tomorrow I'm doing tomorrow I'm gonna do a stream because tomorrow is August 14th here, but in India it's gonna be August 15th, which is Independence Day.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do like a special Independence Day stream.
Today's Pakistan's Independence Day. That's cool.
Yeah, it's basically the same Independence Day. They both got independence at the same time. But Pakistan basically said, hey, our Independence Day is the 14th. India said our Independence Day is the 15th. It's basically the same thing as far as I know.
That's chill. My birthday is on the anniversary of the Battle of Blair Mountain here in the States. I usually talk about it every birthday stream I do. I'll probably do that again.
When is that? Battle of Blair Mountain.
August 25th was the climax when they finally called the National Guard in, and the coal miners gave up just because they didn't want to fight against their fellow World War I vets. So they're actually still finding artifacts in that part of the woods there where people would, to try to pretend like they weren't part of it so they wouldn't get in trouble or go to jail or anything, they would just hide their guns like in tree holes and knots and bury their weapons and shit, and then come out with their hands up like, I don't have anything to do with it.
I'm reading about the people we just talked about, the BBS.
Bodu Balasena, yeah.
Yep. They're fucking basically the group comes in and demolishes a Muslim village almost, and
Yep.
they're like, he's facing like public scrutiny. He goes, well, actually, some young Muslim kids were fucking with one of our monks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's characteristic. Yep. That makes. Yeah, that's like I expected. The Bodubala Sena didn't exist until the end of the Civil War, but like the Bodubala Sena is basically like there have been Sri Lankan, like the Bodubala Sena is like they formed recently, relatively, but they're the KKK. Yeah, only difference is that Bodubala Sena is Buddhist fundamentalist. Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I tell people is like, white people especially love to fucking tout Buddhism as like this fucking pure secular nature movement.
Peaceful.
And I tell people like, no, Buddhism is a religious movement. Like this secular idea, like this completely secularist Buddhist thing is a fucking Western bastardization of like what they did with yoga, what they did with yoga and stuff like that. Like they took all the spiritual stuff out of it.
I would say that Buddhism depends entirely on the country, right? Like Buddhism in Sri Lanka and Myanmar is toxic because Buddhists are the majority, right? And so they weaponize their religion against minorities.
Well, I'm not saying Buddhism is especially toxic or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like that.
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying like even like if you go to India, for example, right? Buddhism doesn't have the same characteristic, right? And the reason for that is Buddhism, like especially these days, it's used as an like a lot of people that convert to Buddhism are from lower caste backgrounds, right? And so they basically like they see Buddhism as like a liberation religion, right? So it doesn't have like the peaceful tendencies doesn't have like the idyllic not idyllic, but like, you know what I mean? Like the very calm, demure,
hippie.
the hippie vibes that Western Buddhism has. But it's viewed as like a liberation movement in India for a lot of people, right?
But in I dated I'm sorry.
No, but in Sri Lanka and in Myanmar, right, where Buddhists are the majority, yeah, it's going to be fascist because they're the majority. Like it is similar to how in India, because Hindus, like the whole idea of Hindu is already kind of like a tenuous concept because Hindus aren't one thing. It's just it's a catch-all term to the religious practices of India. That's what it is, right? It's just a catch-all term to describe what like the non-Muslim, non-Christian, non-Sikh practices of India, basically, right? So
I did not know that.
Hindu. The whole concept of Hindu is actually kind of a British creation, in a weird sense.
Makes sense.
Because the British needed to legitimize their rule over India. So what they did is like, hey, if you're not Christian and you're not Muslim, you're automatically Hindu.
So it's basically like it's like what pagan is.
Yeah, and then what ended up happening was, I mean, Hindus are kind of in a sense pagan because they have like, again, multiple gods as well, right? But it's it's kind of like that, right? But the other thing is like, what happened was the Brahmins in India basically legitimized. They basically came to the British and they said, hey, this is Hindu law, right? And Brahmins are the upper caste, right? So they're the topmost caste, right? So basically they came to the British to solidify their own power. And they basically said, hey, you want like religious law? Here's the Manusmriti, here's the Dharma Shastras, right? And these are religious texts that are probably like they're really fucked up. Like the stuff that's said in there is like, it gives like the Old Testament a run for its money in terms of brutality, right? Like for example, like one of the things that's said in the Dharma Shastras is that if a person of what's called a Shudra caste, a laborer caste, says a Sanskrit couplet, like called the Gayatri Mantra, their tongues are supposed to be cut off. If they so much as hear it, their ears are supposed to be filled with molten lead, right? Like that sort of thing, right? It's really brutal, right? And basically like the Manusmriti and all those like religious texts, they basically say like, oh, women need to be controlled. They are not to be like, they literally says like women should not have any sensual things in their life or whatever, right? They must be controlled, that sort of thing, right? Like there's like a whole incel arc in
The female orgasm is haram.
Hinduism is
incel
not one
arc.
thing. Yeah. It's like what Nightwolf is saying. It's not one thing, right? But like the point is like Hinduism, those people who profess Hinduism are the majority in India, and that's why Hindu nationalism is a thing. That's why they're the biggest threat in India. Right? And likewise in Sri Lanka, because Buddhists are the majority, they're the biggest threat. Right? It's just and it's like in America, Christians are the majority, and we have to deal with Christian fascism.
Right.
It's just a matter of majoritarian politics, right?
Yeah, so like for example, I dated a Tibetan for 3 years, and you know her family straight up worship the Dalai Lama, like they pray to him every day.
Yeah.
And so like I tell people like Buddhism isn't this perfectly secular religion that you think it is, and like they always have this argument with me, and I'm like, you've probably just never talked to a Buddhist that wasn't like a white guy trying to be a hippie.
Yeah, Buddhism, and it's not to say like Buddhism is entirely bad on its own, right? It's not
No,
like
no.
Buddhism is a religion, right? It is like people, like Buddhism is a religion
Well,
just
people
like
make
any
it.
other. And it can be bastardized and it can be used for good. Like it's possible. Both are possible, right? Oh shit, Tegma, what's up, Tegma?
Tegma, what's goody?
Yo, Tegma, you want to hop in?
Yeah, hop on in. I'm just letting Arun cook because this shit is like super interesting and super like important to me. I feel like, you know what I mean? Not to fucking, I don't know. I feel like being made aware of that shit is important because I didn't know about any of this shit until I started fucking with you, Arun.
So you follow like more general Southeast Asian politics, right, Ren?
So I mean, I'm Indian, right? So the news I follow the most is Indian, is Indian
Okay.
news, right? So my parents are all from India. Like, I was born in India, right? So most of the stuff I follow are Indian news, right?
Oh, okay.
But I will dabble in, like, I will occasionally talk about like Sri Lankan politics, you know, Bangladeshi politics, Pakistani politics.
And like the Tamil thing is your thing too, because you have
Yeah, it's because I'm a Tamil person. I'm a Tamarin, right? And it's like we're an ethnic minority with no homeland, right? We're like
Right.
the largest ethnic minority with no homeland
So y'all are like the niggas of India.
No. I wouldn't say that, right? Like, again, the thing with India you got to understand is that like there's multiple layers of oppression.
Oh yeah,
There's-
for sure, no doubt.
There's multiple of them, right?
I was just memeing.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's just that like in a sense, you're kind of right because Tamil people do get a shit ton of hate. Like, there is like a genuine like anti-Tamil, like there's like a genuine anti-Tamil sentiment in India for sure, right? And it's like the reason Tamils get a lot of hate in India is because Tamil Nadu is like basically kind of at the forefront of anti-caste politics, right? And that isn't to say like casteism isn't a thing in Tamil Nadu. It is. It still is, right? Because casteism is it's a 1,000-year-long thing, and it's a very complicated thing to talk about, right? But it's like Periyar, although he did say very whack shit every now and then, like Periyar was deeply anti-Semitic, right? But he overall did basically he basically ended Brahminical rule in Tamil Nadu. That's basically what he did. He basically ended Brahminical hegemony in Tamil Nadu, which is a good thing, right? Because Brahmins were overrepresented in politics, right? So like they're like in government jobs especially. Brahmins make up like 2 to 5% of the population, but they own 60 to 70% of the jobs at one point. Yeah, it's like it was really bad back in those days, right? But so that's one thing, because a lot of the North Indian Hindu nationalist politics, they want to institute the caste system. They want Brahmins to be at the top again. They want the caste system to be enforced in Tamil Nadu, right? That's one thing. And then the other thing that Tamil Nadu gets a lot of hate for is Tamil Nadu has also been at the forefront of like anti-Hindi imposition. So basically, so India has multiple languages that are spoken, right? And there's something called the 8th Schedule to the Constitution of India, which lists all the official languages or all the national languages of India. And Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, these are all languages of like national importance, right? These are languages spoken by millions upon millions of people, right? And the thing is, like, think of India like this: there are multiple minority ethnic identities. The majority being the Indo-Aryan belt, literally have 400 to 600 million people now. The ethnic minorities like the Marathis, Gujaratis, Kannadigas, Tamilians have about 800 to 10 million population. Some have 10 to 40 million. Some have less than 8 million. Yeah, basically, I mean, Marathis and Gujaratis are also Indo-Aryan, but basically, like North Indians, like the Hindi belt. So the North Indian government has been trying to impose Hindi on the South and the Northeast for a very, very long time. They've basically been trying to replace all the government officers with like Hindi speakers, with Hindi, like monolingual Hindi speakers. They've been trying to basically, they've been trying to force people in Tamil Nadu to learn Hindi, right? So that like whenever workers from the north come to the south, they don't have to change their language. They can just speak in Hindi in Tamil Nadu, right? And so Tamil Nadu has like been like, fuck no, we're not gonna bend over backwards for you. When you come to Tamil Nadu, speak our fucking language, assholes, right? And yeah, it's like they're trying to do colonization again, right? They're trying to do colonization again, basically, yeah. And basically like Tamil Nadu is like, no, fuck you, we're not learning Hindi. And Tamil Nadu people are notorious for not knowing Hindi whatsoever. Like I don't know Hindi because like I grew up in the United States, but like none of the people in Tamil Nadu that I know speak Hindi, right? Most of the people
like an obstinance thing?
Huh?
Is that like a thing out of obstinance, like they're deliberately not learning, or?
I mean, it's more like there's no use for learning Hindi in Tamil Nadu, right? Everyone in Tamil Nadu speaks Tamil. There's no point in learning Hindi. Okay. Most of the people that live in Tamil Nadu are going to learn Tamil anyways. And if you need to go outside of Tamil Nadu, just learn English, right? English is the lingua franca that's performed, right? And like the thing is, a lot of like nationalists will be like, oh, so you want to speak English, so what was your grandfather British, huh? Your grandfather was British. You're a fucking simp for the British Empire. And it's like, wild. So a lot of nationalists will use anti-colonial rhetoric to enforce their own form of colonialism.
Huh.
Right? Like a lot of languages in India have basically gotten stuck on the back burner because of it. Right? So if you go to Bihar, for example, right? Bihar has like 3 main languages that are spoken there, right? Maithili, Bhojpuri, and Magahi, right? But because they were the first to adopt, or like they were one of the main languages, main states to adopt Hindi, what ended up happening was people there were like in the schools, like people are like bullied for not speaking Hindi, right? People are like bullied, they're beaten for not speaking Hindi instead of their own dialect, right? Instead of their own language, excuse me. Bhojpuri is a different language. Maithili is a different language, right? But like now what Hindi imposition or this Hindi imposition has done is it's actually put those languages, like Bhojpuri is now viewed as the language of brothels, right?
That's rough.
Yeah, in like a lot of Hindi cinema, Bhojpuri is like, it's like people look down upon the language, right? And Bhojpuri has like a pretty storied tradition, right? Whereas like the irony is that Hindi is this sort of fabricated language, right? The reason Hindi exists like in its current form is actually because the Hindu nationalists got very tilted. Because the original language is what's Urdu, right? It's like, yeah, it's a mixture of like, it's a mixture of what is now Urdu and Hindi. That's like the language that's spoken in Bollywood is just like the modern form of what was spoken back then.
I've heard Urdu spoken before. That shit is weird. But not weird. Urdu, I shouldn't say weird. It was very unique. I'll say that. It would be very difficult for me to try to learn if I was going to.
Urdu, yeah, Urdu. I mean, basically, basically what. So Hindi is just the more Hindu nationalist, like Sanskritized version of that language, basically.
Okay.
And that's basically what Hindi is, right? So there's really no meaningful difference between Hindi and Urdu, if I'm gonna be honest, right? They're the same language.
That makes sense because the people I worked were from Pakistan. They were from Pakistan. They spoke Urdu, but they would have all kinds of like. We would get them like Indian mango drinks that. Hey, just real quick, shout out to India because them little mango drinks fucking hit different, dog, especially during the summer. But yeah,
mango lassis. No, mango lassis are pog.
Yes.
I love mango lassis. Mango juice.
Just
mango
to back
lassis.
up what you're saying, Hindu and Urdu are both part of the very specific subgroup of Hindustani, which only 4 languages exist.
They're
right next to each
Kadi.
other.
It's called Kadi Boli. That's the name of the actual dialect, right? The name of the actual language is Kadi Boli, right? And it's spoken. It originates in Delhi. So, which also makes Pakistan's national language not Pakistani in a weird sense.
Turn it to endless, so if you want to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I just started this game. I might throw if they start sending me blocks and player hating like they usually do. Oh, yep, there they go. All right, yeah, I'm probably gonna throw this game.
Which one did you? What dialect did you mention?
It's called Kadi Boli, Kari Boli, KHARIBOLI. Kadi Boli. That's the name of the. That's the name of the dialect, right? That they speak, right? Yeah, like Nightwolf says, the difference between Hindi and Urdu is purely political. There's no difference.
Okay, that
The
makes
base
sense.
language is exactly the same, right? The base words are exactly the same. The conjugations are exactly the same. The grammar is exactly the same.
So it's like not even. It's not like the similarity between like say for example like Italian and Spanish. They're just straight up the same language.
It's like literally like if for whatever reason, it's like if Italian. It's like for whatever reason like Italian split in two, and then one side of Italian decided to use like Arabic words for whatever reason.
Okay.
And then the other one just wanted to use like purely Latin words. Like that's basically the difference. It's the same thing. It's the exact same language, right? It's no different whatsoever, right?
Okay.
But basically but a lot of languages that are not related to that are not Hindi are grouped in politically as part of the Hindi language, right? So Bhojpuri is a perfect example of that. Bhojpuri has no official status whatsoever, right? But for political purposes, it's considered a part of Hindi, right? And it's purely to boost the number of quote unquote Hindi speakers, right? So that people will make this weird argument that most of the country speaks Hindi. The actual truth of the matter is 20% of the country speaks Hindi as a native language. 20%. Right? People
But that's
will
the national
understand.
language though.
It's not the national language.
Oh, it's not. I'm sorry.
It's not. It is not the national language. Don't say that because because that's what the fascists are trying to do.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say that makes no fucking sense. That's like 1 out of every 5 people speaks it, but it's supposed to be the national language. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I mean, and they'll make the argument that even fewer people speak English and then as a native tongue. And I'm like, yeah, that's the fucking point. That's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason we want people to speak English. The reason we want people to speak English is that everyone is on an equal playing field.
Right.
English probably have a better chance at the national, it seems. No, in the northern part, like here's how ridiculous this whole Hindi imposition argument is. North Indians and South Indians will fight about the national language in English. No further questions, Your Honor. Do I need to make that argument even further? Like
Right.
English is the auxiliary language. It's doing its fucking job already.
Right.
Like, yeah, no, we're already done here. Like, close the shop. We're done with the discussion.
What do you speak Marathi? Or
Me?
I'm sorry, no. Do you speak not Marathi? I'm sorry. Do you speak like any?
I speak Tamil, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why I said fucking Marathi.
No, I speak Tamil. Yeah, I speak Tamil. We don't have a national language because we don't need one because a national language will devalue other languages. Yeah. Tribal languages are probably the ones that suffer the most as a result of this.
Yeah.
Like indigenous language are the ones that suffer as a result of this.
I would imagine so.
Because like they have basically zero official status whatsoever. Like there's like 10 million Gondi people, but only 2 million people speak the language. Like most of the Gondi population doesn't even speak their own language. They gave it up for Hindi basically.
That's so fucking unfortunate.
Yeah. Though English can be used as a connecting language though, yeah. No, as far as government affairs are concerned, there needs to be like one connecting language, but that should be English, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there needs to be some way of like I think the way parliamentary affairs are conducted right now is fine. I just think Hindi should be thrown out of that. I think
it used to be
more...
German. At least I'm pretty sure. I thought the like universal auxiliary language was German for a while. Like a bunch of
French.
It was French. I could be wrong. I thought it was German though. Like a bunch of scientific papers and stuff you could still find from back in the days and shit that are in German.
And the most common second learned language is English, then French, then Russian. French and Russian are basically the same. And then Spanish.
For better or for worse, like English is the lingua franca of the planet, right?
Yeah.
For better or for worse, right?
I like it because it's convenient.
Yeah, I mean,
because we already fucking speak it.
We already
exactly.
Speak it, right? But like the difference is like the kind of people that leave like England and the United States to go visit other countries aren't the kind of people that are going to be like they're not conservatives that are going to be like, why the fuck aren't you speaking English?
Why no speak English?
Why you no speak English? There's some people that are like that, but most of the people that
you
that
Tamil, why no English?
Yeah, it's like those aren't the kind of people that travel usually, right? And people make an effort to learn English because again, it's not just like native English speakers that are gonna leave that are going places, right? You have people from other countries that are visiting, like for example, like India, right? And they have to speak a language. They have to speak some sort of language, right? That's why English is a good auxiliary language, right? So, and it's like saying like, hey, English makes a good auxiliary language is not like me simping for the British Empire. It's like
no,
it's just a utilitarian argument. Like English is already a fucking auxiliary language in most of the world.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just like you're gonna force everyone to like learn like what fucking Esperanto or some shit? Like what are you gonna do? like that's the but like yeah, English fills that utilitarian role, so why not? And because you kind of have to look at India as though it's Europe, why not let English be the connecting language, right?
Makes sense.
Like and so like that's another reason that Tamils get a lot of hate from the central government, right? It's because we don't tolerate this Hindi imposition nonsense generally. Like in Nightwolf State, and Nightwolf can attest to this. There are lots of North Indians that come to Bengaluru, right? His home city, right? And they'll like fucking pretend as though they own the place, and they'll be like, "Oh, Bangalore is like, yo, bro, like Bangalore is Indian, bro. Like, why don't you speak Hindi, bro? You're in India, bro." It's like, first of all, motherfucker, you're in Karnataka. Fucking speak Kannada first, okay? You're in fucking Karnataka. If you're in Karnataka, you speak Kannada. Or if you're in the coastal regions of Karnataka, you speak Tulu, right? Or if you're in Kodagu, you speak Kodava, right? It's that simple, right? If you're in a region that is spoken, if like Bengaluru, Mysuru, like those, if you're in those cities, you best learn Kannada, right? Don't act like you own the fucking place, right? Because there's a tendency for a lot of people from the north to come and be like, "Bro, why don't you speak Hindi? Why don't you speak Hindi? Why don't you speak Hindi? You're in India, bro. You're in India. Hindi's national language, bro." And it's like, no, shut the fuck up. You're in. Can I join VC? Yeah. Hop in.
Hell yeah. Let me hold on, let me hurry up really quick.
Nightwolf is getting fired up. Nightwolf is getting fired up by me speaking about this. He's like,
Talk
I'm
your
touching his
shit.
nerve.
Come talk your shit, Nightwolf. Come talk
It
your
reminds me
shit.
a lot of like this thing that happens in Indonesia, like where they learn English like from a young age, but there'll be some people that like out of like there's like the reason why I asked like if it was from Austin is because from this example is that like there's a group of people that deliberately refuse to learn English like even during their school classes. They'll like brag about not learning English, and Indonesian people that speak English like that use English like in business settings or like there was a YouTuber who would switch between the two, and those people like that refuse to learn English like would get mad at the Indonesian streamer for speaking Indonesian at all. I mean, speaking English.
So I think I know what you're getting at. So this is a thing in India, right? And Nightwolf's in VC, by the way. He's waiting. So this is a thing that happens in India, right? Especially in the north. So English is so the thing is there is a level of elitism that is present in English schools, right? Like there are people like English is often treated as like the superior language, especially in the north, right?
I was gonna say I thought it was like considered like a luxury language almost.
Yeah, it's a luxury language in the north, especially, right?
Like knowing English is a class signifier.
Yes, knowing English is a massive class signifier, you could say, right?
For the most part.
Yes. So, but that is often conflated with the South speaking English as an auxiliary language. So what often happens is North Indians often confuse the two. So they'll be like, "Oh, you think you're better than us because you speak English?" It's like, no. Like, no, we speak English because we do not speak Kannada. Like, I don't speak Kannada. I don't speak Malayalam. Like, trust me, I've tried speaking Malayalam to a Malayali streamer, and he's like, never speak Malayalam again. He's like, you murdered the language. Never speak that language ever again. And then I don't even want to get into Telugu because I can't speak that either, right? So I have to speak English with these guys, right? So English is the common agreed upon auxiliary language, and then that's often conflated with this idea of, hey, that's often conflated with this classist, class signifier stuff. So that's like the main problem, and I think that's like the main sort of problem in the North right now. I think that's what the hiccup is right now, because they view like. Go ahead.
Another thing, in the 70s or I think it was the 60s.
Be right back.
No problem. It was, in the 60s there was this like anti-national language protests, right? Because people didn't want a national language, because national language will automatically devalue, the native speakers of non-national languages, right? During that time, there was, the chief minister of a state named Uttar Pradesh, or northern state, right? He was saying that Hindi should be a national language. And the ironic thing about that is that he was sending his kids to an English school. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, that was so ironic that people turned a blind eye to it, obviously, because loyalty.
It kind of reminds me of, it's not really similar. I don't know why I just started thinking of this, but like this weird gold star shit amongst like Latino people about how you're like not really Latino unless you speak Spanish, and it's like,
well, I get that shit all the time,
which confuses me because like the only reason you all speak Spanish is because you got fucking colonized. So how much sense does that make? Like, I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I always think about English as a language that has done bad and good, because English in the United States, it destroyed a lot of indigenous languages like Cherokee and Navajo and others, right? But at the same time, for us people of the subcontinent, it was kind of a language that helped us throw out the British. Like, we threw out the British, like a lot of things that the British gave us, we excelled in them better than them. Like cricket, for example, right?
Oh, they're mad as shit about cricket. They're mad as shit about cricket.
They're mad about cricket, but the funny thing, they have never won a single World Cup in cricket till now.
Guess what you're gonna love this. Guess what the national dish of Britain is?
What's that?
Chicken tikka masala.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not joking.
I'm not joking, dude. Chicken tikka masala.
That is the national dish of Britain.
God. That's so ridiculous, fam.
Oh yeah,
Like,
by the way,
I thought,
yeah.
bro, I thought them taking the Kohinoor was the worst.
To
I
be
thought them
quite
taking the
fair,
Kohinoor diamond was the worst thing that they did to us. I'm joking, obviously.
to be quite, I mean, to be quite fair, British people, they kind of suck at cooking Indian food.
They kind of suck at cooking
Uh,
in general, fam. You ever seen British cooking? That shit doesn't even look like food.
oh yeah.
I feel like the recipe is just to stick it in a pot and boil it for 26 hours until it's not solid anymore, and then go to town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, unironically,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like they literally had to rely on like people from the subcontinent to come and cook them good food.
I mean, that's how the Europeans always fucking are. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Like
yeah, they rely on like fucking
they had
people
to,
they
they had to,
colonize.
yeah, had to depend on us to season their food and shit because their food was bland as shit till we got their food popping for them here.
Exactly. Like
no,
soul
and
food is literally it like I'm pretty sure like soul food comes from like the plantations, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, fuck yeah. It comes from so take chicken for example, just fried chicken, basic.
Yes.
That came from the Great
Like,
Depression because chicken was cheap meat. It was seen as like almost like factory floor meat. Like chicken was not something that it was seen like meat for poor people, almost like how like cow tongue now would be viewed. But because we had been in this country for 400 years, figuring out how to use like cornstarch and that kind of stuff to fix up shit like chicken's feet and like pig's feet and all that stuff that was literally just scraps, shit that master didn't want, that we had to turn, we had to turn chicken shit into chicken salad, no pun intended. And that's kind of what we did to the point where, like, we were just having this conversation with Bink earlier, where it's yet another one of those things that came from black people in America that became a fucking national, like, cultural export. To where,
Yep.
like, a lot of people don't even know, like, Korean fried chicken is as slamming as it is because the GIs during the Korean War, the black GIs showed them how to fry chicken like that.
yeah.
No, like a lot of shit like comes from like, you know, a lot of like American cultural exports comes from black people and we don't even acknowledge it. Like,
There's what's his
I
name
think,
is
like,
Adrian. I forget his last name.
the entire modern music industry comes from black people.
Oh yeah, there's a fuck. It's this. His name is the Soul Food Scholar. It's Adrian. Something can't forget his last name, but I went to go see him talk because my ex girlfriend she was really into cook and she was mestiza, so she was really into making like Filipino food, and I was super into that. And also in my phase of like discovery and pro blacketry of like finding all this shit out. So we went to go see him speak at this restaurant. Adrian Miller. Yep. At this restaurant that was called Ida B's Table that ended up closing, but it had really good soul food, and he just basically talked about like how there was like straight up like black cooks in the White House because we shitted on all the French cooks that they were trying to get and stuff, and like we invented shit like macaroni and cheese, like because before that people used to just eat like straight up dry ass macaroni until niggas were like, yo, why don't you throw some cheese on there, yo? The fuck?
Dry macaroni.
That
Does
dry
sound like
ass
white
macaroni.
people
Get
shit.
that a little wet, yo. Get a little wet. Throw some cheese on there, something, shit. Some salt and pepper on there, and you're just gonna eat that dry ass macaroni? Come on now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh yeah, British imperialism in English, yeah.
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 Sorry,
No,
we got
go ahead.
sidetracked. We got
No,
sidetracked.
you were gonna say something?
I wasn't gonna say shit. I was just still ad libbing, but
No, it's good. No, it's good. Basically, like, yeah. So that's basically the other reason that Tamil Nadu gets a lot of hate. But I wouldn't say like again, like I guess the two groups that are most marginalized in India are probably Dalits and tribal people, like the different tribal ethnicities of India. They're probably the most marginalized groups in India by far. I mean, Muslims are also deeply marginalized as well. But I would say like Dalits, like even as this Muslim like marginalization is going on, Dalits are still like they're still getting their shit pushed in 100% of the time, right? So there's a movie that just came out called a couple actually it was a couple months ago, I think, right? It was called the Kashmir Files, right? And it's about the exodus, basically the ethnic cleansing of the Kashmiri people, the Kashmiri Hindus, excuse me, from Kashmir, right? And there's the thing is like what happened to the Kashmiri Hindus was absolutely atrocious, right? So basically, like Islamist groups in militant Islamist groups in Kashmir, basically, they orchestrated attacks on like random Kashmiri Hindu civilians, right? And they made the environment such a toxic toxic environment to live in that no one really felt safe there anymore.
So it was like a soft pogrom almost.
Yeah, it was basically a pogrom against the Kashmiri Hindus, right? So what happened to them was absolutely atrocious. But the thing is, the Hindu nationalist government is fucking capitalizing on that. And they're basically like, they basically promoted like free. So this guy called Vivek Agnihotri made a movie called The Kashmir Files, right? And what ended up happening was, they started promoting free tickets to this movie called The Kashmir Files. And what ended up happening was there's this Dalit, I think it was author or like newspaper writer or something that basically said, hey, like this is all good. Like, I'm glad that you guys are talking about this, but what about the violence that happens to Dalits on a daily basis, right? What happens to like, why does no one talk about the shit that happens to us on a daily basis? And for that, what upper caste Hindu nationalists did is they literally dragged him. They forced him to lick the stone ground of a temple. They're like, you want to talk? You want to speak out against us? How about you lick our feet? Basically, they treated him like an animal, basically, because he dared to question like Brahminical hegemony in India.
That's wild.
So here's the thing about Kashmir, right? What happened to the Kashmiri Hindus, it's very atrocious. Don't get me wrong. It's literally a pogrom committed by Islamists. But we have to dig deeper to see why these Islamist groups even emerged there. You know, Pakistan is one reason. It is one factor, right?
Yeah. Like, you can't, like, here's the thing. To say
the
that
most
Pakistan
part-
is involved is also wrong, but Pakistan is not the only reason why. India's committed mass pogroms against the Muslims in that region as well. Like, they ethnically cleansed the Jammu region of Muslims in 1947 with the help of Hari Singh, right? So basically, when the region was partitioned, right, Hari Singh was like a tyrant, basically, right? And Jammu had significantly more. So the region of Kashmir that is controlled by India, right, is basically three regions, right?
Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh.
Ladakh, yeah. So Kashmir is majority Muslim, and Jammu used to have significantly more Muslims than it does now, and that's partially due to ethnic cleansing that the Indian government and the Hari Singh government did against Muslims. And again, partition of Kashmir was also a very messy, like there were killings on both sides, but like this was like a systematic killing done by the Indian government, right? And Pakistan also did fucked up shit there as well, right? So there's no good guys here, right? There's like, and this is what I usually, whenever I talk about this on stream, this is why I rarely ever like, I never am like, oh, critical solidarity to this group or critical solidarity to that group, right?
That's such a Western mindset, just because like people, I feel like here get super fucking horned up for there to be like a good guy, bad guy type of, it's this weird mindset. I don't know.
I don't know if it's just a Western
That's
thing.
the thing. Most Westerners.
I think it's a
here's the
human thing. We want
That's
to
true.
simplify.
That's fair.
We want to simplify things, right? We want to make things very easy for our minds to understand, because it's not easy for us to accept the fact, as humans, to accept the fact that, you know, everyone is capable of bad, right? We're all the heroes of our own stories, right? So, but like in this particular case, like a lot of the reason the Islamist groups popped up is because India did like systematic ethnic cleansing of Jammu Muslims, one. And on top of that, they did like horrific shit in Kashmir as well. They also like oppressed the Kashmiri Muslims for decades on end. Like today, today, right? There is no chief minister of Kashmir, of Jammu and Kashmir. There is no chief minister. Every other union territory, every other state has a chief minister, except Jammu and Kashmir, and they haven't had one in I think 2.5 years. They've not. It's like if a state here in the United States didn't have a governor for 2.5 years.
Damn.
Yes.
Like it was directly
Here's the
ruled.
thing, right?
And the reason
Here's the
for that,
thing.
let me finish.
Kashmir is like a region that is disputed between 3 countries now, right? It's disputed between India, Pakistan, and China.
It's occupied by 3 countries.
It's occupied, yes, because Kashmir again, it does not belong to either of them. Right? It is its own independent state, which is under colonization now, right? The thing is that all of these 3 people, they at the end of the day, they want to genocide, Kashmiris. The Sayyids, the Sayyid upper castes of Pakistan, they tell that they're gonna, turn Kashmir into,
Fuck!
what do you say, what Punjab is in Pakistan now.
I was in second fucking place, dog. I almost won that one. I'm sorry.
You're playing Tetris.
Yeah, Tetris 99.
Nice. The last time I played Tetris was like long time ago.
I'm
By the way-
a Tetris fiend.
Nice.
Plus, I'm a
By the way,
forklift
going-
driver, so it's like I play IRL Tetris in the back of fucking semi trucks and shit, and it's just
Forklifting is a
Thang.
tough job.
It's just hot. Like it's a lot of physical labor, which I don't mind so much because I'm a little out of shape and I enjoy working with my hands and being active, and I'm trying to get fit again. But the heat, just the temperature extremes suck. In the summertime, it'll be 105 just on the dock, but then you got to drive that hot ass forklift into the back of a hot ass semi. That sometimes the straight trucks, they have like transparent roofs. So the heat just gets trapped in there. So sometimes you'll be loading shit in there and you can't even breathe. You got to hold your breath until you come in and out. Like,
Jeez. That
and
sucks.
and then in the wintertime, it's all the same problems where however cold it is outside is how cold it is on the dock and in the back of the trucks. But you can at least, like, it's not super terrible. Like, we're not on slavery time, like, and I do this often. Like, at any moment, I can just, there's a giant ass fucking shop fan that we can stand in front of, or I can legit just walk back into the, like, break room and soak up some AC for a minute before I catch my breath and come back out. But
Yeah. I mean, the hot temperatures really are a thing. It sucks.
truck drivers and freight handlers, really some of the most slept on members of the proletariat, I feel like. Truck drivers especially.
Yeah. I agree. For me, like, hot temperatures are like, I'm fucking used to it because I live in like the
Yeah.
middle of the peninsula,
That
right?
makes sense. I'm a summer baby, but it's still just like, this shit is excessive.
Yeah.
The humidity
Like,
is what makes it so
100
shitty.
Yeah. I mean, sweating and all. Sometimes sweating is good, but excessive sweating.
Well,
I
the
don't
humidity
think
makes it
excessive-
so it doesn't matter how much you sweat, you're not cooling off because your sweat's not evaporating.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean,
I've already
in
botched this
places.
game. This shit's nuts. Already botched this game.
Can you guys tell me about? So I'm reading this. Please don't kill me for this incredible mispronunciation. Sadiq Khan.
I know
Sadiq Kapan.
Oh, so I got the first part right.
Wait, you're talking about a guy, right?
Yeah.
So Sadiq Kapan, that's his name. So Sadiq
the-
Kapan, I'm assuming he's a Malayali by that name. Yep, yep, Malayali da. Sorry. I'm like obsessed with Kerala. Like I love Kerala. I love Malayali. I love Malayalam. I love all that shit because basically, so Sadiq Kapan is a journalist, right? So he got locked up under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and basically Sadiq Kapan is basically what the UAPA is it's a law that basically that was passed in order to prevent quote unquote unlawful activities, which involve like overthrowing the government or causing
Is this the Patriot Act shit you were telling us about earlier?
That's the one in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
This is the one in Sri Lanka. This is like the one in India.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the unlawful prevent, it's not like the same thing, but like a lot, basically if the government deems you, like if the government thinks that like you're trying to cause trouble, like even before you do anything, right? They'll just like arrest you. Like most of the people that have been, the most notable arrests that have been made are like trade unionists, rights activists, like Dalit rights activists, tribal rights activists.
Yes.
The only I think the only one that was like actually like I think Yasin Malik was the guy that was actually arrested on like decent, like that's like the one where it's like,
I mean, here's the thing, right? In India, the problem with, Muslim journalists is that most of them are, upper caste, and most of them wanted theocracy, just like, the Brahmins. They're the same thing.
I think it's fair to say that. I don't think it's fair to say that. I mean,
most of them are Sayyids, most of them are like Sayyids and Ashrafs.
But we're talking about Siddiq Kappan, dude. Siddiq Kappan is a Malayali, dude. What are you on about? Like,
I mean, I know he's a Malayali, but here's the thing. I think it's not justified to, the reason why Muslim journalists are feared in India is because of people like Arfa Khanum. It's fair to say that, because Arfa Khanum, let's be honest, she wants, theocracy. She admires theocracies. It's a problem, right?
I don't know about that. Like I said, I don't know if I.
I mean, most Muslim journalists in India get arrested anyways. That's the problem. Like, you can't stop it regardless, unless and until you change the government. And even if we change the government, they will still be this, sort of a light Islamophobic environment, because we have been polarized heavily. Right? That is like one of the main issues, and people.
Like, I'll say this: some of these guys have really bad takes, right? They have really yikes takes. Like, they have like really homophobic takes every now and then, but like that's not a reason to like just fucking arrest them. You know what I mean?
My kind of
I agree
reason
with
why I
that.
was bringing
I
it
agree with that.
So the kind of the reason why I was bringing it up is because it said one thing it mentioned was like that his arrest was like the thing he was covering during that time was the gang rape of a Dalit woman.
Yes, that's
And
that's
so,
what.
and also adds up that. So
yeah, that's the
please
point.
correct me if you can expand on this a little bit for me, guys. That like not only so it's during like sometimes like during these group the sexual assaults like that people that try to like cover or do anything about it can get in trouble because oftentimes like local police or things are involved in it.
Yes, that's basically what happens all the time. So like I said, most of the people that get arrested through this law are like Dalit rights activists, tribal rights activists, they're general rights activists, trade unionists, that sort of thing. Poets get locked up. There's a known guy called Stan Swami, right? So Stan Swami is he was a Catholic priest, right? But he was accused of terrorism because he was supposedly like they said that he was linked in the Bhima Koregaon violence, in the Bhima in the Dalit protests in Maharashtra. He was quote unquote linked to that, and he was quote unquote linked to the Maoists of India, the Naxalites, the Naxalite insurgency, right?
Yeah.
Basically, so the Naxalite insurgency, I won't get into too much, but basically, my take on the Naxalites is that I don't really criticize them too much because the reason that the Naxalites exist in the first place has not really been solved yet, right? And like the reason a lot of tribal people a lot of people from tribes, indigenous groups join the Naxalites is because their land,
they don't have an option. Like at one
their
side you
land
have
has been stolen by the government and has been redistributed to politicians. They don't have a choice, right?
they don't have a
They don't
choice,
have
and
any
the opposition. and the opposition is not willing to stand in full solidarity with them.
Exactly.
No,
So they don't have any
they
other option. There's no point in like
yeah,
criticizing them too much. But I will say this: the Naxalites do really fucked up shit. They really
of
do.
course.
They do fucked up shit. Like
I mean,
like they
they're
have killed
Maoists.
innocent civilians. Like they do have like kangaroo courts and shit, and they just do have like routine executions. So
What is it with Maoists not actually doing Maoist shit? I don't know. It's weird.
it's okay.
I think it's actually Maoist shit.
Okay, here's another thing that's crazy. All right, in Sri Lanka, the Maoists in Sri Lanka like there were all the Tamil Maoists of Sri Lanka basically had to leave the party because they were like not for Tamil self-determination, the Maoist party in Sri Lanka.
Sorry, I fucked myself really bad. I have no idea how I'm gonna come back from this, but that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and like the Trotskyist party in Sri Lanka are like huge racists.
Oh, naturally.
Like
Me?
it did like again, like that's why I don't support shit just because they have the word Maoist in their name or just
Right.
because they have the word just because they say they're Marxist. I don't support them immediately.
Oh shit! What up, famous horse? My fault. I was Tetris and I didn't see you in here.
Oh shit. Famous. What the heck? Where are you?
Damn.
Oh man,
Random
that
day
lit?
stream kind of lit today.
No.
I figured it would be lit.
No, we're gonna ban horse.
Like it's I don't know. Like I feel like a super fucking Westerner when I like ask about gang rapes in India because it's like I see them on the news all the time.
No, I mean it is a problem in
Here's
India.
the thing.
It is
There's
the problem,
nothing
but, like,
wrong.
no,
Here's
no.
the thing. There's nothing wrong in talking about it, right?
But
it
like, don't
depends
feel
on
like
how you're
it's
talking
inherently
about it.
inferior because it has gang rapes or whatever. Like don't write off all of India because of like, oh, the gang rapes
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, it's the way you talk about it, right? It's like, oh, well, gang rapes are a problem in India. Like, mass sexual
Of
assault
course.
is a problem in India, right? But if you're gonna be like, yeah, like, well, how are you? Like, there was this weirdo that was in my chat that I had to like throw out, and this person was like they gave me weird vibes from they gave me fucked vibes from the beginning. They failed the vibe check. This was a black woman from like Arizona that was saying that she loved she loved Indians because we're like Aryans or whatever,
Cringe.
which is
Like, what?
So, yeah, I'm not
What?
joking. I'm not
Not
joking.
all of Indians are Aryans, dude. Come on, it's just like 400 million people are Aryans,
Right.
or 600. Like,
I'll be right back. I'm
South
gonna make some
Indians are
soup
not
really quick.
Aryan.
I'm hungry.
Famous.
No
Yo,
worries.
horse. The reason I
Wait.
say that is you literally started it. You started it in my chat, okay? So no, you literally try. I'm just repaying the favor. You got that?
Can you
Endless
expand?
supetary.
I know I did exactly. But I can do it. You
Zeron,
can? Yeah. Well, too bad.
Zeron, don't say Arun can do no wrong. He failed to farm grass once.
Shut the fuck. I'm going to a concert today. What's wrong with you? Okay, I am touching grass. Fucking asshole.
I'm just kidding, man.
Fucking asshole. God damn. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
I
Arun
mean, I'm not,
can-
dude. I'm not as much. I'm not as much of an asshole as Sandy is, right?
No,
Come on.
Sandy's a literal devil, literal demon. Like she literally
I'm
said
gonna-
she was.
I'm gonna tell this to
Sandy. like she basically said like little sister shit to me when like she acts basically like the little sister I never had, and she's a fucking nuisance. But I love her nonetheless.
You said useless.
No, I said she acts like a fucking nuisance.
Oh, nuisance. I thought you said useless.
No. She's like if you want to know
You
the
said
kind of banter,
Arun,
if you
oh
want
my
to know the
god.
kind,
Arun,
if you want to know the
Arun,
kind of
check the
banter
chat.
that me and Sandy have on my fucking stream, like literally just like come in one day and then she'll be saying like Arun doesn't know how to work stairs or whatever. Like Arun is scared of stairs or whatever because I broke my fucking ankle. Like falling down a bunch of stairs. some shit like that.
Dude, Arun, check chat real quick.
Arun can do no wrong. Hindu saint.
No,
Arun.
that's
What the fuck?
So that's funny. I've actually had way more interactions like in person with Bengalis and Indians because I don't know. I live in New York City.
Bengalis are technically.
Hey, what up,
Indians as
UD?
well, right? Because Bengalis they're split, right? Just like Punjabis.
You want to jump in with us, UD?
He's talking about
I need
but he's
Arun
talking
to
about
co-sign on
Bangladeshis
that
though.
for me to say
No.
anything.
He's talking about Bangladeshis though. He's not talking about.
Yeah.
He's not talking about Indian Bengalis. Like here's the thing:
I mean-
in America, when people say Bengalis, they usually mean Bangladeshis.
Oh.
They don't
Sorry,
mean. Yeah, no.
I've never been
Like,
corrected on that.
No worries.
no. It's no. It's not. You're not in. No. You're not incorrect. You're still like. I mean, technically, you kind of are, but like that.
They've always called themselves Bengalis. That's why.
Yeah. No. That's because of Bengali nationalism.
Yo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what the fuck is this?
But because
Oh yeah. By the way, I cannot speak out the word because it's TOS.
Hate raid started.
Maybe.
how dare they?
The word DARVO means what do you say? Somebody who's pretending to be, somebody who is committing domestic violence but is playing victim that they are the victim of domestic violence. That is what DARVO means.
I gotta go to Urban Dictionary.
Is that like a?
It's not a Kannada word, dude. It's an English word. It's a slang.
We're just cooking right now, Bank. This is like low key. Like I had Arun come in to cook about Sri Lanka and shit for a minute, and then Nightwolf got fired up. So we just been
And I
kind of
happen to be a great
Fluff.
question asker.
Yeah, Fluff is doing my job because I'm playing Tetris. You know what I
Pan
mean?
India. Pan India.
I would be asking hella questions, but I'm sweaty on Tetris, so Fluff's always good at that.
No, I mean I'm enjoying this combo. It's really good.
I'm glad I went because it was just me, Fluff, and Bink earlier. Bink took a nap, so it was me and Fluff just kind of riffing for a minute, and I was like, "Fuck it." Last night's stream, me playing Tetris was all right. Let me give it another shot, and we could just have the conversation we were having live, and maybe other people would jump in, and it worked out better than I had planned, or didn't plan rather.
No, I mean if you want to have like a more structured, formal conversation about like Sri Lanka or India, then I'm more than happy to have that.
Yeah,
honestly.
for sure. Because we've talked about that, but it was just kind of one of those things where I was like,
Yeah.
we talked about it, and it'd be cool just to have you hop in and just like kind of go off top, and we just bounce around and talk about stuff. It is Mutuals Party. Endless Cemetery's chat is the Mutuals Party right now.
Right.
But yeah, Bink, if you want to jump in, UD, if you want to jump in, anybody
It
wants to
seems
jump
like there's
in.
because I'm reading about this like one where like recently several states criminalized religious conversions, like forced conversions.
yeah.
It feels like a lot of like the
Oh yeah.
actual
God.
changes,
Conversions.
systemic changes India claims to
God
make.
laws.
India claims to make are
forced
just kind of like
conversions.
surface level lib shit.
So
Yeah.
basically, like, there's a conspiracy theory that's
I'm
running.
guessing that these are Indian or like Hindi slurs or something.
Indian mega. What the fuck?
Did I mod you? Hold on, let me mod you, Nightwolf.
What's going on here? What is this? Word?
Just so you can see this shit when it happens. Because I never know, and I don't want to fuck up and say the shit out loud and get clapped.
I mean, Mangan,
Don't worry, dude. I'm gonna
It's-
add a bunch of block terms real quick.
Hey, Prodigy's in here. Okay,
wait,
awesome.
is it like a slur? Because it also, I googled the word and
Yeah,
it's also
thanks.
the name of a group of indigenous people in the Philippines.
Yes.
What? Maybe? Oh,
It's a
God.
slur. It's a slur in what do you say, Urdu, right?
Oh,
It's a
okay.
slur in Urdu for an infidel.
Dog, who has the kind of time to... this shit is
Yeah,
so
but what if
wild.
like one of these, one of these
I didn't know
Philippine
you had
indigenous
this
people
that I
comes in?
got.
They're like, why is our name banned?
Dude, I didn't have, like, listen, these guys are absolutely fucking depraved, I swear to God.
It's fucking, they're going
No,
for some
no.
esoteric shit.
Like, no. Like, I gotta, like, I was on a seductive seaweed stream talking about this.
I know what
right?
that means. I know. Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say I know what that word means. The K word.
Oh yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah. So basically, what happened was like this dude was like coming into my chat. I was talking about it, and then there was one of the names was like Muli Vaikal vid so hot, and Muli Vaikal is the massacre where hundreds of thousands of people died in Sri Lanka, and the vids refer to like the videos that the Sri Lankan army took, right? Of them basically committing mass murder and
Their
rape.
own fucking little live leak footage.
Yeah, like literally, that's what that's referring to, and it's like,
That is
like you have to be like you have to be like
well versed.
absolutely deranged. No, I mean, yeah, well versed is like obvious, right? Well, you have to be absolutely deranged to think that that is in any way like okay.
Dude,
yeah,
some people have that fetish, dude. Some people have that fetish. Like, did you know that there is did you know that there's an entire cult in Germany that, harvests like Nazi Germany footage of committing war crimes, and then they, they literally fetishize it, dude. I'm not kidding.
That shit's so crazy.
Dude, people are weird, I swear to God.
Well, it's just they're trying to be edgy.
Yeah, I mean, they are trying to be edgy. I wouldn't be like, why wouldn't they try and be edgy?
So if I didn't eat for the last 2 days, that means
what does that word, that A word, mean?
A word, it means slave. It means slave in Arabic.
Did you DM me on?
You know all the slurs.
People are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The A word, it's mostly used by, Arabs of Morocco against the Berbers of Morocco and, like more Sudanese people, or darker skinned Arabs, right? The A word is usually used against them because, the French and the British and Italians, they prefer, they gave more privilege to non-black skinned people than black skinned people. You get the whole
Yeah,
gist of it,
colorism.
right?
Yeah, color. It's a colorism term. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, ever tell you endless like, I was talking to an Arab person online, and like they were friends with a friend of mine, and like I was trying to be friendly. I called him Habibi, and he goes, "What are you, gay?" And then blocked me.
I mean, Habibi is a gendered word, right? It's not used for like men.
No, wait, no, that's
Is
not.
Habibi a gendered word? I thought that was.
I thought it was a friend word. He was Saudi Arabian though.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, Saudis, they get mad at you for even calling them Habibis.
I'll let you in, Zeron. Hang on.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Habibi, the usage of the word depends from.
That's funny.
I did pee the bed until 12. How did they know?
That's mad funny.
Jesus fuck.
I'm about to just
it's definitely not a kink.
Let's go ahead and let's turn notifications off for the time being. We'll go ahead and turn.
It's definitely not a kink. I definitely don't pee the bed anymore, but okay.
My strategy is like just to not even acknowledge their existence.
Yeah. That's what
just,
I was.
It was
doing.
just such a silly one.
Yeah.
It's just so it's so inoffensive. I don't get why they would do it.
Like after a certain point, it's like, dude, you're the crazy one. Like you are.
You're trying really hard.
You're like you are really trying hard to get under my skin, and you're not doing a good job.
It's like, fam, like I'm a nigga in Baltimore fucking city. I've almost been shot. I've almost been stabbed. I've been in fistfights with literal neo-Nazis. Like, this is barely annoying. Like,
I work with kids, and they will make you feel way worse than any fucking. Dude, I had some kids go at me saying like, "Where's your hair?" And they kept laughing at me because I was bald, and they put stuff on my head and like, "Finally, you have hair." They're fucking mean.
My bod makes me feel worse than these idiots do.
Right.
Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Also, shout out to Thay. Thanks for hanging out.
Oh yeah.
There, the actual Chud follow name is gone.
Can you guys remember? I should probably just Google it and not use you guys as Google. But I remember seeing on TV the Indian hotel get taken over by terrorists.
Oh, that was 2611, right?
Yeah, it was during
Yeah,
his
that
boy,
was a
oh boy.
long time ago.
That was a long
That
time ago.
was
It was like '08.
that was like a state.
What up, Carpet Packs?
That was like a state. Yeah, that was like a state-funded, terrorist attack by Pakistan.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Pakistan, most of its money, like 98% of its GDP is controlled by the military. Right?
Yes.
Like it's a country where the military rules. The military has land in Pakistan, not the citizens or the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an atheist, I'm very aware of Pakistan and stuff because I've kept up with because I keep up with atheist rights, international rights stuff, and keep up with a couple of organizations, and like it always comes up like when atheists just get mauled to death by a crowd in fucking Pakistan.
I mean, here's the thing, like
Pakistan has blasphemy. I mean, all three, Pakistan and India have blasphemy laws, right?
Every South Asian country has them.
It's just a matter of like, in Pakistan,
much it follows through.
it's just more likely that people will use those blasphemy laws to like just wantonly kill people they don't like. Like if you happen to be a religious minority, and you get on the wrong side of someone, like you basically have to fear for your life because like they can now use the arm of the state against you.
Speaking of that, did y'all hear about Salman Rushdie?
Yes.
That shit's nuts.
No.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce his name, by the way? I don't know if I butchered his name.
Salman Rushdie, yeah.
Salman Rushdie? Okay.
Salman Rushdie, yeah. So Salman Rushdie is... So he's not like... I'll give him credit for this. He's not like Sam Harris in that like Sam Harris and those types are basically... They do a lot of like pro-Christian... Or like they not pro-Christian, but they basically like... They hammer mostly on Islam, right? They hammer mostly on Islam.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, they usually focus mostly on Islam because from their perspective, Islam is a uniquely bad religion, which I don't buy for a second.
People like Majid Nawaz and
Majid Nawaz.
And the African lady. What's the African lady's name? The
demon semen lady?
No, I know you're Ayan Hirsi Ali.
Yes, I love you.
I was just about to say, yeah, he had a fatwa out on him because fucking Ayatollah Khomeini, all the way back then, fucking was like, get rid of this nigga.
Yeah, so
and it's crazy.
For anyone
because
wondering, Salman Rushdie was stabbed.
I don't think Salman Rushdie is nearly as bad as any of those guys.
No, he's not an intellectual dark web.
I just want to be clear, like obviously what happened to him is fucking disgusting.
It's crazy because his people told security there, this nigga has a fatwa out on him. We should probably beef security up just a little bit. And they're like, nah, he'd be all right.
Yeah.
Silly shit, American shit.
Like they banned his book in India because Muslims got really mad. I think that was a really bad move on India.
Yeah.
Like I think it was a really bad move on India's part.
The guy who stabbed him was Polish.
Bro, you can never keep up with who the fuck does this kind of stuff. Like it's always just some wild out of the blue shit.
Yeah.
Unless it's a white nationalist, then it's 10 feet.
The guy who stabbed him was Polish?
That's why I would have guessed he was like Pakistani or something, honestly.
Wait, I saw the name. He may have been like a Polish a Muslim guy from Poland. Because I saw the name and it was like Hadi something, right?
There was no security
I'm
check
looking
now.
at the guy. He doesn't look like the typical Polish person, like the Uber.
Wait, let me look up his name. Check this one more time. I just want to.
Wait a fucking second. Who the fuck is this dude?
I just banned him.
His last name's Matar.
Hadi Matar. Yeah, I don't think that's a Polish name.
That's not a Polish name. Like if you were to
not
being completely objective, if you were to ask me if that was a Polish name,
I mean, he might
be from Poland.
I was gonna say his country of origin might be Polish.
But like that's not what I saw. His name was Hadi Matar, I think.
Oh, he's from okay.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. I thought it was a Muslim
in New
dude.
Jersey.
Yeah, I was pretty sure. What did the guy what did Salman Rushdie do to Poland? Like what the fuck?
Yeah, they stabbed.
He lives in New Jersey.
There was no security checkpoint. There was no security. They were literally just checking tickets.
Charged with attempted murder assault. Yeah, Hadi Matar. Yeah, he's a dude from New Jersey. Yeah.
That's crazy, Catboy Collector.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's just a far like right person.
He's a far right Muslim, I would say. Like,
You spelled that one wrong, by the way, Nightwolf. I could say it because I'm black, but it's Gollywog. It's with a W instead of a V. I've actually been called that before. There you go.
Really? After the doll?
Yep. Because the doll was made with black people's hair. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That is fucked up.
Yeah, they used. There's still like old time like colonial furniture that you can get, and if you open it up, it's Negro hair.
If you
in
buy
there.
that and don't give it to a Reiki museum immediately, you're a bad person.
I've never heard that word in my life.
Gollywog.
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
like
heard
a really
that.
creepy black.
Like
It's
I
a
feel
really
like you
creepy
say that,
like
you got to be like
black
a
skin
weak
doll.
Yeah, don't repeat it, but
feel
yeah, that's what it is. It's basically just like a creepy doll made out of black people's hair.
Really? Is it like
No, I
even
feel like
one you
I
can't
feel
say
like
in
that's
context?
like a I feel like that's a word. I feel like that's a word that if you drop, like you are instantly like clocked as a weeb for racism.
Yeah, that's how. That's that fam. So like that's
over racism. Like
the guy
I
that
love
the,
it, dude.
the
That's
guy
amazing.
that the guy that called me it. We had a back and forth because he's a racist piece of shit and liked to let the N word fly. But he was talking about like squeegee kids beating someone playing a knockout game or something. He was like, those fucks. And I was like, just say the N word, dude. I know you want to say the N word. And he replied to that with gollywog. And I had to Google that shit.
You're like, damn, he made you Google the racist
Yeah,
thing he said to you.
fam. No,
That's fucked up, dude.
So I was doing the
What did he say to me?
when I was doing the January 6th coverage, right after January 6th happened, when I was live watching like CNN and shit, watching the hearings, someone came in and called me a fucking blue gum. I had to Google that shit too. Yeah.
oh
is that?
what? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, yeah, the archaic racist terms.
No, actually, okay. So you know what's funny? I wasn't attacked with like racist, like, but there was like, I mean, I was attacked. With,
They
like,
still
caste
make
shit.
those, yeah, Catboy.
Yeah, I was still attacked with like caste shit, right? But like there were
Weird
there
beef,
was like Arun loves Devanaya Pavanat, right? And I was like, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm like,
It's
I
the
don't even
same
know who
dude,
this guy is. Like, I'm like, I had to Google
B-side
that
slur.
mother- No. Arun loves Devanaya. So Devanaya Pavanat he's a crackpot. He's a conspiracy theorist, you can say. He's a Tamil, like, basically, you know how like Hoteps exist?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Tamil Hotep, just like you can say it like that, right?
Okay.
He's basically he's kind of like a crackpot, basically. Like he'll say like Tamil is the world's proto language or something like that. Tamil is the oldest language or
Oh
something.
my god.
Yeah,
One of
he's like a-
those. Okay.
Yeah, he's like a legit like crackpot
Yeah.
naturalist or whatever. And I had to like because I talk about like Tamil Tamil rights, I talk about Tamil this, Tamil that, and because like I want like self-determination for everyone, including the ethnicity I belong to.
Right.
This guy comes in and he's like, "Oh, that means that makes you a Dravidian nationalist," and I'm like, "You do not understand Dravidian
Just throwing out
nationalism."
words, aren't you?
Right. My man's
You
just
do
saying
not
stuff.
understand- You do not understand Dravidian nationalism if you think that's what Dravidian nationalism is. Like, you do not Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't gonna say shit, but yeah, y'all. That pause told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't gonna say shit. I saw it and let it cook, but yeah.
Wow. No, I just popped up on
Oh,
my
that's
screen.
fucked up, bro.
Wow. Jesus.
What the fuck?
The B-side slurs.
Jesus
Dude, what is,
Christ, dude.
bro, people have too much time on their hands, I swear.
You're gonna start using Spanish slurs next.
No,
I
that.
mean-
Oh,
This
yeah.
This
no,
shit's
that-
just blowing up my engagement, so it's chill for me because it's easy to ignore, but it makes my stream look bigger.
No, listen, it's the same thing with me. I went from like fucking I had like a several set of hate raids like one night. I went from 383 to 400 in one night.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I knew it was up when we had that panel on blacks.
Like, that's like,
When we had that panel on covert racism last Sunday,
Urban Dictionary putting the work.
I was like,
damn, Urban Dictionary and
Ban the
fucking.
S one too. And
No, Wiktionary is also doing a lot of work here.
yeah,
as well.
definitely ban that one. I don't fuck with that word at all. Are you? Did I mod you too? Yeah, you're a fluff. You're a mod too. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do that then. Add.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, Nightwolf is basically like he basically banned he. You know what? So one day, Nightwolf
Putting the work in.
No, Nightwolf was literally. I just saw him like do shit, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I'm looking at all the fucking." He pulled up the Wikipedia page for every slur imaginable, and he just banned all of them in my chat.
I've seen that
like,
list.
Dude, what are you doing? Like, no one's gonna come. Like, I actually no. I was originally thinking like, hey, no one's gonna come in, like, to my stream, saying like a racist word towards like Filipinos. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just in case, dude.
Just in case. And then I'm like, I'm losing. And then I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, I might be
Yeah,
wrong.
Prodigy.
I might be wrong. Holy shit. I
don't have access to that
Oh,
command
let's go.
to add block turns.
Really?
Riv,
Oh,
that
let
is
me
a
see.
newly born hating. Oh,
Dude,
yo, the esoteric
laughing.
slurs are back. Okay, I can
I'm
say.
fucking laughing my ass off, dude. Right now.
Let's go.
Teaching me a
Let's
lot of
go.
Oh my god. Okay, never mind. That was you. I was like, damn, we got the Hebrew slayers coming through now, but that's you. Still banning
No,
shit.
no, Nuliban is Nuliban. Okay, it's not it's a slur for Brahmins, basically, right? It's a quote unquote slur for Brahmins.
Well, does that mean
basically like
that?
But that's the weird part. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, that's dedication to the craft.
No, like, that word is not easy to Google though. I want to know how the fuck that bastard found it.
Maybe it's
That's not a word that you can easily Google. Like if you like
I
there's
think
no
you were saying
dictionary-
before it has to be someone at least familiar with the region.
wait. Some people actually refer to themselves as Eskimos, though, don't they?
I don't know.
I
I got
mean,
clapped
it's
for
a
that
slur,
one.
right?
Yeah, I
It's
got clapped
more
for
of
that
a- yeah,
Some
it's
people,
still a
like
slur.
some
That's-
people will like in it is a slur to a certain degree, because like while Tamil Brahmins have like basically oppressed a lot of people in Tamil Nadu for a very long time, like they don't really have as much political power, and then there are some like crazy elements of like the DMK, or like there are some elements like of the Seaman crowd that are like, we need to hurt the Brahmins. Like there are some like weirdos like that are like legit like that actually like hate Brahmins for whatever reason. Like there was just one weirdo that was like, there was just one weirdo in my mod's chat that was just like asking the weirdest shit to my mod. Like they're like basically like,
You don't have to keep banning forms of the N word. It's already banned. Like, even if it's in a word, it's not going to be allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
What up, Ellie?
No,
Just in case.
because at this point, you're just going to end up typing a bunch of stuff with the N word.
Oh, peace out, horse.
yeah, I mean he did this with like, he's just trying to be super precautious. That's it. Like he's trying to be super precautious. Because I'm probably going to go on late tonight if you want to come by Ellie Fried Comrade and Endless Cemetery. What the fuck? No invitation for me, huh?
I
Damn.
thought you were going to a concert.
I'll come through, famous horse.
What the fuck, dude?
Prodigy in the building. Well, I'm about to order.
You know what? Ban horse.
I'm about to order some seafood, so I gotta mute my mic really quick so I don't dox myself with this place I'm about to order from. But I'll be right back.
You sucking
Are you good?
Grubhub.
Nah, I'm
Well,
just
that's the
You guys
point.
keep
Is
up with
it's not
food
on.
shit at
It's so local. It's not on like Grubhub or Uber Eats or anything. So if I say the name of it out loud, number one, I'll dox myself. Number two, I'll fucking pack that bitch out, and I'm not trying to do that because I like actually being able to go there in a reasonable manner. But
fair.
all right, cool.
Cat.
You want some cream of crab soup too, Ellie Fried Comrade? I got you. I'll mail it to you.
Oh yeah, by the way, Arun,
Hi, yeah.
Have you
Can
take-
I get a large bowl of cream of
You're
crab
not
soup?
muted.
Unfortunately, we don't have that right
That's
now.
so
We're just
stupid.
getting everything back. We just have crab, shrimp,
oh
I think
yeah,
he-
by the way, Arun, have you
Right
taken
on. It's
a
okay.
look at,
Thanks. I appreciate you.
He's so dumb. He's so dumb.
No, he can hear.
No, it's cool. It's cool. They didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't
still,
have
the
what I
fact that
wanted
he
to
went through all that and didn't mute.
No, do you guys know what the name of the restaurant was?
No, but you said
There
you're
you
gonna
go.
mute it. I thought you forgot to mute.
No.
when you were going through the
Yeah,
conversation.
I muted when I was asking OK Google to bring up the phone number.
Oh, okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Cool.
Oh
Dog.
fucking
Oh
hell.
no,
Jesus
wait,
Stop
Christ,
responding
dude.
to it.
Wait,
Stop
zero,
responding
zero,
to
Yeah,
it.
just don't even, yeah.
Zero. Talk.
You in here, Zeron?
I think they are.
Their audio is a little scuffed, they were saying earlier.
Yeah, no, your audio's not working right now. I see the green highlight, but it's not
I
working.
can't hear anything, yeah.
Yeah, same here. You know, funny thing, I'm literally banning. Oh yeah, by the way, Arun. Oh, yeah, by the way, Arun, have you taken a look at Miami's flag?
Miami's flag?
Yeah, just
No.
take a look at Miami's flag, dude.
Miami.
I guess I gotta use Uber Eats now. Shit.
What the Yo, how are they gonna rip off the Indian flag? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I'm
looking
saying.
How are they gonna rip off the Indian flag? Yo, Miami,
Wait,
get
yo,
your
what
own
the fuck?
fucking flag.
Yeah, that's
Oh, what I was
definitely.
gonna talk about earlier, I completely remembered, Endless, is like I find it interesting, like that, you know, when we talk, like, because I mentioned the Rwandan genocide earlier, is like people, I think, you know, colonialism shit had a like, I'd say like 65%, if not more percent, to play in that, but it's always ironic to me, like the genocides in Africa, what like they tend to be like the two ethnic sides tend to like be like, you know, put it against each other because of how like they're separated by colonial powers. But then in the middle of it, they always fucking go for the pygmies too. Like one side will just also like
Yeah, I feel
eliminate
like
all the fucking pygmies while they're at it. And I'm like, this doesn't feel as much about colonialism as if you just kind of wanted an excuse to murder them.
yeah, that's true as fuck. Pygmies just get fucked like the world round, getting put in like human zoos and shit. It's kind of really
Yeah,
not
as somebody
based
who lived
well.
in Bronx, I can attest to that.
Are you talking
Bronx
about
had
like
a
the
zoo.
mob peoples?
Bronx once had a zoo for African pygmies with an African pygmy in it.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's not a very proud thing.
I mean,
Not something.
you know, I'm not really surprised with it.
His name was
No,
Oda
I-
Benga.
Yep.
He was a Congo pygmy.
Oh, Bambenga, yeah.
Oh, who's got cream of crab soup on deck? I need to know. These
This
are
is
the
a
answers that I
1906 too.
need.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, Zeron is also in waiting right now.
Okay, let me bring them back in. Let's
Oh,
hear
and they
it.
put him in the monk.
Zeron.
Yeah, they put him in a monkey enclosure. Yeah.
Jesus.
And they put him in a
fuck.
cage with an orangutan as as like a insult to evolution. It's like, we're not monkey, see? That's even, of course.
Naturally.
Hey, Zeron, can you speak? That's really weird. I guess their mic is fucked up. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
It's kind of weird. All right, that sucks. Anyways,
Yeah.
I gotta dip soon because I'm going to a
Word.
concert. So,
Right.
but it was definitely nice.
Record videos.
Hell
Record
yeah.
videos.
Hell yeah. Thanks for coming through. I always learn something whenever you come through, and I really appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you having me on, and I just love love popping off like this, and I love talking. You know.
Yeah, me too.
Because like it's stuff that a lot of people don't really talk about, and I think there's a lot of complexity that is often left out in coverage of India, and I feel like it's best to have like someone from that has like a somewhat more deep understanding of that region like talk about it, because they can provide some context to like that may not be, you know, present in like outside coverage of the area, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
It's an honor. Yeah.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too. Be safe.
All right. Thanks, man.
Easy.
Oh yeah. I wish Xeron could.
I'm just reading the story about Otobenga real quick, and it's fucked. He like
So-
started to live a normal life eventually in Virginia, and then he was like, "I want to go back to Africa," but World War I made it impossible, and so he got so depressed. He got depressed and then killed himself.
That really sucks. That's tragic.
Jesus, that sucks, dude. The most ironic thing, in my family, my great grandpa, right, served in the British Indian Army against, he fought against the Nazis, right? The ironic thing about it is my, paternal side, great great grandpa, right? He fought on the side of Nazis.
Ooh.
Yikes.
I mean, that's like the most ironic stuff that I've ever seen in my entire family.
And I mean, at least you're honest and open about it. You know what I mean? It could be worse. You could call yourself a socialist and be the direct descendant of the person responsible for the Bay of Pigs, but we don't have to get into that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's nuts. I have ancestors who were in the Confederate Army.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
The Confederate Army reminds me. There was this one subreddit on Reddit, right, which is now banned, which had there's the what do you say, the subreddit, profile picture was like, what do you say, the Indian flag with the Confederate flag. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Jeez. That's wild. Yeah, I know they fly the Confederate flag in Germany because flying the Nazi flag is illegal.
Bro, I'm reading about the similar case with a Native American in California during the time. His name was Ishi, and well, not his name wasn't Ishi, but he was the last member of the Yahi people after the California genocide.
Jesus
And
Christ.
and Yana, like his language, and in Yahi culture, you're not supposed to say, you can't introduce your name until somebody else introduced you by your name. So you're not supposed to like talk about your name. And so when people asked his name, he said, "I have none because there are no people to name me." So because there's no other Yahi person to introduce him,
That's
he
rough.
couldn't. The Yahi culture, you could never say his name.
Jeez.
That's like that's some of the sad shit I've heard.
Yeah, that is pretty fucking sad. But I don't know. That's some like fucking like Mandalorian type shit. It's like, nah, I don't remove my helmet. You don't get to know what my name is. It's cool.
Yeah. I'm thinking about, covering the Syrian civil war sometime. Only thing is that I'm afraid that I'll get like Islamists and Assadis.
I was gonna say, as crazy as the fucking neo-Nazis, the American neo-Nazis are on this bitch, those people are
Yeah.
kind of next level on here.
Yo, here's the thing, right? The problem about the Syrian civil war is that it's a multi-sided war. It's not like a binary war.
Right.
It's not like you're
Like
The
a
thing is
typical
that-
struggle for independence type vibe.
kind of. I mean, there are multiple groups. On one side, you have like ISIS and Al Qaeda. On the other side, you have groups like the Free Syrian Army, and you have the Assad regime. It's something. The problem with the Syrian opposition is that they have a lot of infighting and, what do you say? They have a lot of infighting, and most importantly,
This
they
is the
have
way.
like they have a lot of, what do you say, disagreements between each other. At the same time, I'm not gonna really speak much about it because half of it is like fucking TOS.
Right.
Especially when you know that, the regime has been barrel bombing literally civilians. Like,
Yeah, like, and it's weird as fuck because like there's certain sects of like MLs and shit who will cape for Assad, and I'm like, nah, I can't co-sign that.
I don't support Assad for a reason. He's just something, dude. Like, here's the thing, right? Assad is a tyrant, like,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. He might be socialist to some extent, but he's still a tyrant. He doesn't like people criticizing anyone. Like, dude,
I
come
mean, he
on.
murders protesters, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most importantly, he barrel bombed an orphanage of kids.
Yeah, that's strike one, two, and three right there.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like, yes, do I listen to pro Assad music because it's good? Sometimes. Because we have some Syrians in my society who like,
Whoa.
disagree with
Come
each
on.
other. We have like Syrian, what do you say, neighbors in my society, right? Some of them are with the opposition and some of them are like with the regime.
That's wild, Catboy Collector. And honestly, cause I've seen, so a bit of backstory on me. I've talked about it a lot, but I don't know if any new people in here know this. My grandmother, I just tweeted about it. My grandmother worked from sun up to sundown picking cotton for pennies on a dollar when she was 8 years old. Only way that she could get out of it was to drink someone else's tobacco spit that would make her so violently ill that she was physically unable to work. And my grandmother was the youngest of 10 kids, so all of her siblings went through that, and it continued until I'll tell a story. But essentially, my great grandfather packed the whole family up and they dipped off to eastern Mississippi. Because this was in Jackson, I believe. But my grandmother, her mother, her mother's father, and her mother's father were all enslaved on that plantation. 4 straight generations on that plantation. And that's just of the records I was able to find. And
That
so
sucks.
so I know the land and I know where it is. I've looked at it on Google Earth and stuff, and I feel compelled to go out there just to check it out and catch a vibe. But I'm kind of building up to it because that's gonna be heavy as fuck. You know, standing on the same land that oh my god, I thought I turned these shits off. Stand, standing on the same land that 4 generations of my family were enslaved on. So
This motherfucker, he's telling that he's literally coming at my dad. Holy shit.
it's all good. But I'm fucking hungry. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours, so I might end soon. I might be back later. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end now because I need to get some food.
Take it easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Catboy Collector. Who's live right now? Who can I raid into?
Oh, real quick.
What's that?
Did you see that Destiny was on Fresh and Fit?
I saw that, yeah. I wasn't surprised. The only thing surprising about it is that he was sitting that close to black people. But the content is on brand. Let's rate Kevin F. Logan. Why not?
Right. Oh, I think I'm done with the block terms. I added most popular block terms.
I appreciate you, Globus. I appreciate all you chatters and everyone, especially shout out OG Prodigy, shout out Catboy Collector, shout out Carpy Pax, shout out Thay and Twilight, shout out Magic City Murals, shout out Nightwolf and Fluff, of course, shout out Arun, shout out Bink Princess, shout out Tegma, fucking shout out Xeron. Just You know, shout out Ellie, of course. Everybody who's been
Yeah.
supporting me lately and really making this shit worthwhile. Shout out Some Dumb as well, of course. But all right, y'all. We're gonna raid Kevin Logan.
Peace. I'm gonna get off too.
All right, fam.
I'm gonna dip too.